Good afternoon and welcome to McKellar Park. It's Women's National Premier League preliminary final time here, live on Bar TV Sports. It's Canberra United Academy versus Canberra FC. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me this afternoon at a very blustery McKellar Park is Grace Mark. Good afternoon, Grace. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Big game this week. You'd rather be out there on the field, of course. I mean, you're not, because Canberra FC knocked Canberra Olympic out last week in the elimination final 2-0. Disappointing for you guys to end the season in that way? Yeah,
it was really disappointing. We came in with a lot of excitement for Canberra Olympic's first final series I think, ever in the club's history. And, it was a tough game, and Canberra FC definitely had a game plan that they stuck to, and credit to them. And, I would have loved to be out here today, but I'm sure that the game's going to be just as good from the sideline.
That one went to the wire. Grace Gill scoring in stoppage time to make it 2-0 to finally kill off Olympic hopes. There were chances for you guys during the game as well. Meg McLaughlin went close on a couple of occasions, but FC have shown that they won this grand final competition last year. They've shown that they know how to play knockout football. Yeah,
100%. It was a completely different side that I saw when they came out against us in the semi-final rather than previous during the season. They worked really hard off the ball, and I think that just shows that's how they won against Belconnen last year, and they just work hard, and then they have players like Grace Gill that can find the back of the net with the slightest of chance.
We'll go through the two sides very shortly, just to say that these sides have played together against each other 4 times this season. CFC have won 1, Canberra United have won 2, and 1 match has been drawn. There's not been a lot between them. In the first game in round 5, FC won 3-2. In round 12, it was a 1-1 draw. In round 19, it was Academy's turn to win 4-2. And in the Federation Cup semi-final clash, the Academy won by 2-1. So there's not much between them on paper or on the field that we've seen.
No, definitely. And I think it seems to be whatever team turns up on the day has come out on top. And the Academy side has strengthened throughout the season, as a young side usually does. But for Canberra FC, they've played them a number of times now and know exactly where their strengths lie, and I'm sure they'll be looking to nullify that today.
The strengths seem to lie up front, of course. Aoife Colville, 45 goals this season. Interestingly enough, in those 4 matches between Canberra Academy and Canberra FC, the Academy have scored 9 goals, and all of them have been scored by Colville.
Yeah, she's an incredible player at the moment. She's playing on lots of confidence, and I'm sure she'll be looking to add some more today, and it'll be a great battle between former teammates in Ivana Galic and her, so it'll be a really good battle, and looking forward to it.
Form heading into finals is generally not that important, is it, Grace? Because if anything happens on the day, and to prove that, Canberra Academy come into this one looking at it on the back of a 3-game losing streak. But when you consider that those 3 games have all been against Belconnen, you can't really take anything into consideration, really, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, with finals football, it's a completely different ball game, and there's often a little bit more nerves and higher stakes, so people tend to be a little more cautious, and so it's really who's going to take the opportunities today when they come.
This Academy team have scored 102 goals in all competitions this season. The rearranged last game of the season, which they lost 2-1 to Belconnen United, the goal from Laura Hughes was the 100th they'd scored this season. 102-4, but they've also conceded 46. So their open style sometimes sees them call at the other end.
Yeah, and I think you often find that with younger sides as well. They're learning how to defensively hold their shape and be disciplined, but at the same time they've got that individual flair to be able to score plenty of goals.
By contrast, Canberra FC 55 goals in all competitions, but only conceded 27, suggesting they're a little bit more solid at the back. Yeah,
and that's the clear tale. They're a really experienced side, and like we saw last weekend, they're a compact unit, and they protect their goal knowing that they need to get 1 or 2 to win the match.
Mark Risteski, the head coach of Canberra FC, tells me coming into this game he's missing 7 players of his first choice. He's missing Brittany Palumbi, who's not eligible today, Chantal Jones and Marcia Wallace, who are both injured. Lily Barty's unavailable. His daughter Gabriella Risteska, she's also out injured as well. Big loss, Marcia Wallace, last week with an ACL as well.
Yeah, that was it was a really horrible thing for any player to have to go through, and it was so early in the game. And I'm sure she'll be well looked after with the club. Chantal obviously tore her ACL earlier in the season, and wish her the best of luck for her recovery. But I still think Canberra FC showed against us last week, even without Marsha, that they were still strong, and the substitute that came on for her actually scored the winning or the first goal. So just goes to show that they've got the strength on the bench.
Sophia Evans, she starts in the 9 shirt up front today, the centre forward, coming in for Wallace Capone. Chantal Jones, I saw her bouncing around downstairs. She told me she might play next week if she puts a brace on the knee if they get through the grand final. I only think she was half joking.
I know that she was threatening us last weekend with that as well, to jump in goals. That she'd be fine, but I think would be dumb to risk that. But knowing Chantel, I wouldn't put it past her.
I thought she was joking initially, and then I saw the look in her eye and went, hang on a minute, she might strap up for this.
Yeah, she's an extremely competitive player, and she's really taken to the team on almost a assistant coach role, and she was really helping that team lift, and it's great to have that spirit and passion on the sidelines as well.
So plenty of goals in both teams, plenty of good defensive qualities in both teams, good goalkeepers as well. Who do you think is going to win and go on to play Belconnen next week, and whose season ends here today?
Look, I think the Academy will have to come in favourites. The girls are in fine form, high on confidence, really gelling towards the end of the season. But if Canberra FC can remain disciplined and keep them out, then they may just have a chance to win this one by a couple of goals.
While we wait for the teams to join us on the field, nice to see a Westfield W League draw come out eventually. It's been a while, hasn't it? But it's out there now.
Was waiting, yeah.
And some good fixtures there as well. Your future will be decided over the next week or two as well, which will be good for yourself. Locally here, Canberra United have been signing some players as well. And we were talking off air about how strong the squads are looking across the board in that competition now. And these NPL competitions are great for younger girls to come in and play and try and push towards that.
Yeah, exactly. I think this season especially, it's starting to look like those teams that perhaps were a little bit weaker during the previous seasons have picked up some great signings locally. Matildas are starting to spread out across the board and some veteran players. And now it's about, those 3 or 4 spots usually for some young local players. And I was presented that position a couple of years ago, and now I'm about to, play with another W League team as more of a senior player. So, that's really exciting, and I'm sure lots of these girls will be looking to do that today.
Here come the teams on the field, waiting for kick-off. Led out by match officials, Harry Shield in the middle, assisted by Lauren Hargrave, Carlina Mullett, and Scott Boone is the fourth today. Let's have a look at these two teams a bit closer. Grace, starting with Canberra United, Sally James in goal, back four of Sarah Morgan, Courtney Halser, Molly Lawless and Lara Agnew. Carly Rosbach and Laura Hughes and Stella DeMarco in the middle three. Front three, the return of Hayley Taylor-Young, Aoife Colville and Isabella Mulhall. Lots of talent. Yeah,
definitely. I know some of the Canberra Academy girls are carrying little niggles, and it'll be really interesting to see how they pull up and tactically what Ryan was thinking of doing throughout the game. But otherwise, strong sides, and there'll be some great one-on-one battles in the park.
Canberra FC, their lineup, Nat Vasta in goal, back four, Bridget Wright, Ivana Galich, Amy McLaughlin, Alice Churchill, couple of holding midfielders in Krista Hagan and Jamie Berkeley, Grace Gill just in front. Their forward three, Diana Genovese, Sophia Evans and Rachel Goldstein.
Yeah, again, very similar squad to last week when we played them, and I think in the midfield they'll be looking to go 1v1 and really back themselves there. And the academy will have to be careful of the Grace Gill up in the attacking midfield position, and she's got a great shot on her, and any free kicks around the box will be dangerous. She's the leading scorer for Canberra FC with 15 goals. Coming from that position, that's quite a good return. Yeah, it's fantastic, and it just goes to show she's not a player to get in behind the lines, but she's still managing to find the back of the net plenty times. We saw Canberra FC men's team win the National Premier League Grand Final last night. Will their women's team return to the big dance and take on Belconnen United for the second year in a row? I see Anthony Jagarinik is sat in the stand to our right. The Belconnen United head coach probably taking an interest in what's happening today. Yeah, definitely. And not that he hasn't seen these teams many times, but it's always good to see if there's been some tactical changes. And Belconnen have had some of their younger grades play today as well. So it's, it's good to see the opposition always scouting you. You know that means you're a threat. They'll be sick to the back teeth of Canberra United Academy, I would have thought. Federation Cup final here, then a replayed round 10 match on the Saturday, and then the qualification final against the same team. And each time the Academy have actually pushed Belconnen all the way, but if they're going to do it again, they've got to get past Canberra FC this afternoon, and it'll be Sophia Evans in the red shirts, white shorts and blue socks, taking the goal to our right to get us underway. Feels unusual being here when it's light, Grace. Yeah, spring really has seemed to come. I think we got up to nearly 20 today, so it's good signs for things to come. We're still wrapped up here, though. Yeah. It's first break. Did you bring the gloves today? No gloves stayed in the car today, but still got my big puffer jacket and plenty of layers. Early shot by Hagen, got it all wrong.
Sally James in goal today. She'll be hoping she won't have much to do, but at some stage she's going to be called upon for sure, you would think. The Academy like to build up from the back. They like to keep possession. Here's Halls. First touch for Morgan. And she looks to send Taylor Young down the, Mulhall down the wing. Scored a cracking goal in the Federation Cup final, didn't she?
Yeah, it was a fantastic, the cut inside and a great top corner shot. And she's a great one-on-one player, and I'm sure she'll be looking to take on plays down the flank and get some good crosses in.
It's Hughes. Looks for Colville, but that's going to be picked off in the middle of the park by Goldstein. And a first touch for Vasta. When you see Mulhall doing that in the Federation Cup final, you wonder why she's only got 2 goals this season, don't you?
Yeah, it's interesting. She often provides a lot of assists throughout the season, and just goes to show that despite having that in her repertoire, that she's still providing for her teammates, and especially for Aoife Colville.
Yeah, only the 45 goals for Colville, so I'm assuming she's had a few off Mulhall this year. Pass from Mulhall was a little bit short. And a mistake by Halls. Here's Gill. Touch takes away from DeMarco and looks to get Genovese in down the right-hand side, but coming across was a central defender. In Galich, I think that was.
Rosbacken.
Is that Rosbacken?
Yeah,
she's wearing a different colour number shirt. The one I've got here. Is she playing a bit deeper than you thought she might?
So the Academy have a really interesting style of play that it's a bit less traditional than the back four. They drop their central defensive midfielder in to create a back five, and it gives a bit more freedom for their fullbacks to get forward or go inside. And you'll often see Sarah Morgan and Molly Lawless getting up a lot higher with Carly dropping in.
Hagen slices one again. That's the second one. It's come off the side of the boot today. Should be hoping that improves. It's Mulhall. Halls. Academy, as we said, finished the season second. They were 2 points ahead of FC. Trying to feed through the middle towards Colville was Taylor Young. They missed her when she wasn't available for the Federation Cup final, didn't she? Yeah,
she just adds an element of power and speed, and she's really threatening. She's playing with a lot of confidence. She's been caught up for the Canberra United Winter Program, and she's a great player and can provide a lot of attacking threat on that right flank.
Challenge in the middle of the field, and Hughes was involved. Was Lara Agnew getting involved as well? They fiddled around with their formation a lot here, haven't they? Because the one they've given us is slightly different to what they've put on the field, with Rosebacken playing as almost a central defender. Interested to see how that works. Here's Berkeley. Looks for right on the overlap. She's not going to keep that in, though. They're all pretty comfortable in every position they're put in there by Ryan Grogan, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they've made a lot of their midfielders. So Carly and Stella, they're both comfortable at playing in that centre-back position, which gives a little bit more freedom for someone like Hughes, who's a bit more attacking, to get higher up on the park and plays that assist for Colville.
Gill in midfield. Genovese looks to lay the ball off, but it's been picked off, and here's Colville. First time we've seen her with the ball at her feet. Loses out on that occasion, but the confidence will be buzzing through her this year. "45 goals is an incredible return, isn't it, Grace?"
Yeah, I was asking her during the season whether she'd come to any agreement on a goal bonus or something, but
she should have.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't think that far ahead.
It's Lawless with the foot in. Berkeley. FC, as we said last time they played, it was the Federation Cup semi-final, and it was only 2-1 in that game, and there wasn't much between the two sides, and the early stages here suggest there's not going to be too much either way. James sends that forward, picked up by Hughes in midfield. There's a chance perhaps for Morgan to bring it away. Rather digs that one out like a pitching wedge over the top. And Mulhall tried to keep it in. She did, in fact. Surprised a few people. His Halls. DeMarco sends it wide towards Taylor Young. Looking to take on Alice Churchill. Has been a stalwart defender for Canberra FC for a number of years now. And here goes Taylor Young. Showed a good turn of pace to get away and keeping possession.
Yeah, that's going to be a great battle down that right-hand side with Taylor Young and Churchill. They're both very similar players in their physical and quite quick, and be looking to see who comes out on top.
Well, Galich is penalised for a shove on the back of Colville, and this is a shooting opportunity perhaps. It's a fair distance out, isn't it? But you wouldn't bet against someone having a pop from here.
Yeah, I actually have been training with the academy girls during the week, and Sarah Morgan's been practicing from that exact spot all week, so I wouldn't be surprised she would like to take it, but I don't know if Colville was going to let her, actually.
They're having a discussion about it, aren't they? And it looks like Aoife Colville's pulling rank here.
Yeah.
She's like, how many goals have you got this season, Sarah? You've got 5. I'll have the pop. It is Colville. First, perhaps, shooting opportunity for the game. Sweeps it over the wall. And Vats has half dropped it. Has it crossed the line. The appeal is there, and it's no goal. Looked almost certain to go in, didn't it, from this range?
Yeah, I almost thought the goalkeeper had already admitted defeat and let it go in, but from our angle, I guess it's a little bit harder to see.
Officials on the far sides. It's Carlina Mullet, and she says no. Difficult to see from this angle, isn't it? But a warning, nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a great strike, just over the wall, and Nat did really well to get her hands to it, but just couldn't get a clean grab.
Is right, challenged by Morgan. Maybe she'll get the next one. Hagen. Galich's ball forward. It's Berkeley. McLaughlin. Now Goldstein. She's had a decent season, Rachel Goldstein, 8 goals, second top scorer in the side. Asked Churchill to go on a run. And Taylor Young shows she can defend just as well as she can attack.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to be a great battle, especially if Churchill's decided to overlap. There's going to be a high work rate for the two of them tracking each other.
And the 8 minutes gone here live on Bar TV Sports, women's preliminary round final. The winner, as we say, progresses to play Belconnen next week. For the defeated, the season is done. Different scenario for the Canberra Academy girls as well. This would be the first time most of these have played finals football, having been the first time they're allowed to play this season.
Yeah, that'd be right. Actually, the first time, I think the last time that we're allowed to play, the academy side played in the Women's Premier League was back when my first season and it was Actas, and we lost to Belconnen in the grand final, and but all these girls, I believe, they weren't involved at that time.
I vaguely remember calling that one, I think. Were you involved in that, were you?
No, I wasn't allowed to play. I wasn't allowed to play as I'd just been signed with Canberra United, Julia DeAngelis and I, and so we went up to Sydney versus the Wanderers instead, which was nice, but we would have loved to have been able to beat Belconnen. That's
right. I think that was at Hawker, if I remember rightly. Maybe it was, I'm not sure. It was a while ago. But yeah, for these girls, this will be the first taste of knockout football. In this, can be quite brutal. We saw in the reserves beforehand. Belconnen beat the Academy 3-2, and there was a couple of the young Academy girls in tears at full time, knowing that their season's just come to an abrupt halt.
Yeah, and
there's no next week.
It's a really good experience, and it's great that they're allowing them to play in finals. Often they don't. And it's just great experience because, like you say, finals football is a completely different ball game, and it's something that at junior level in the Matildas and young Matildas, we're often lacking.
Hughes gets the free kick. It was Sophia Evans who was penalised. Canberra FC support don't think that was the correct decision, but Harry Shield was on the spot. Berkeley. She might have an important role to play today, Jamie Berkeley, in the middle of the park there.
Yeah, she's sitting a little bit deeper, and that's allowing Grace Gill to get forward. And if they can find Grace on the ball, she'll be able to distribute to their forwards, and they'll pose a real threat.
Mulhall gets a touch in field. Here's Morgan. Rusbarken. 13 goals for her this season, but each time we've commentated on her before, she's been a bit further forward. I'm sure if the need arises, she can slot into that midfield position. Here goes Taylor Young off on another adventure. Churchill tracking back gamely, but Taylor Young has the pace. And Churchill shows all of experience to get back and make the challenge. You called it early, Grace. That is going to be a battle to keep an eye on.
It's going to see how long they last with the 90 minutes. They're both extremely quick so far. Alice has been able to keep up with Hayley Taylor Young, and so it'll only be a matter of time, I think, before the legs give way and one's going to start creeping in front of the other.
Well, a couple of minutes ago, they were doing exactly the same thing at the other end of the park, so if they can keep that energy up, they'll be doing well, this Halls. Lawless. Rusbarken again. Looks to spray it forward, but that's going to be easy for Wright, who sends it straight back from where it came. And that was handball by Sophia Evans. Haven't seen much of either team as an attacking threat just yet, have we, apart from the free kick from Colville?
No, it's been played mostly in the middle third of the ground, and I think that's due to, no team's found their rhythm just quite yet, but gaps will start opening up, and they've got to then take those chances.
Here goes Taylor Young again, and Churchill wins that battle. Don't want to play too high a line against this academy side, do you? Especially with the pace that Colville has, but if you do drop back a bit, then you give space to the midfielders like Hughes and Rusbarken if she goes in there, and they can hurt you as well.
Yeah, exactly, and I think Canberra FC, that's actually why they are so successful in defending their goal. They drop off, but they also get everyone behind the ball and closes down that space for the midfielders. And I know playing against them, you often have a lot less time, and if you do have time, there's usually a CFC player right behind you on your first touch.
James. Those gloves look huge on her hands, don't they? Lawless sends it forward. The trick of the perspective, I think, with the black gloves
yeah,
against the blue shirts.
I was going to say. And I also think gloves, sometimes they don't mind them if they're a little bit bigger to give them more grip on the ball. But maybe Sally just has quite big hands.
Good thing if you're a keeper. This Rusbarken at the back, looking to direct traffic. Game's yet to pick up. Sure, eventually we'll get some chances on goal. Here's Morgan. Challenged by Hagen. Not giving a moment's peace on that occasion. And Halls will have to go back to James. Everyone's comfortable on the ball in green and happy to bring it out the back, including the keeper. Morgan, who's had an outstanding season. Right, read her intentions though. Now Hagen. Twisting and turning right in front of us here in the commentary position and looking for the run of Genovese. But Halls has read that well. She's a willing runner, isn't he? She, Diana Genovese, into those channels. Yeah,
lightning quick, and if the ball's played in the right area, she'll be on it. But it'll be a good battle between Holst and Rusbarken with her as well. They've both got pace and experience, and yeah, they'll keep her pretty calm under pressure.
Here's Lawless at the back. Looking for the run of Colville. Didn't quite come off on that occasion. FC will be wary about that, of course. Galich, who was an aerial threat last time we did a Canberra FC game. She's given that one away, though. Gill picks up the pieces. Berkeley. Genovese. Morgan's battling in midfield, looking for the free kick. She's not going to get it, though. Berkeley's there. Gill sends it to Goldstein. She's robbed by Taylor Young, and that one's sent forward early looking for the runner, but Galich is in the way. Berkeley again. Robbed by Hughes. And Genovese wins it off of Morgan. It's all a bit frantic at the moment, isn't it? Neither side can seem to put 2 or 3 passes together.
Yeah, and if they are trying to keep the ball, it's often to go backwards. So both teams looking to sit in a block and hold and wait for them to go forward to win that ball. And yeah, that often means there's a lot less chances in the match. So it'll be really interesting to see when those chances do come, who's going to be the most clinical.
Russ Buckham intercepted that one from McLaughlin, and she's off on one of those runs forward that she loves to do. Here's Taylor Young. Now Hughes spreading the play to this near side where Mulhall has it. Looks to give it back to Hughes. Nice build up this. And Hughes is denied by a great tackle from Galich at the back there.
Yeah, she's had a fantastic season, Ivana, and again, time and time again against the smallest of players and the tallest of players, she's tackling and winning most of her tackles and has been an absolute rock for CFC this year.
Certainly timed that one to perfection because Hughes was looking dangerous. Here's DeMarco. Finds Morgan. Plenty of time for Morgan to pick a pass. And as we've seen throughout the opening 16, 17 minutes, the Academy happy to just slow it down and then inject a bit of pace when they need to. The sun comes out over McKellar as well. Reasonable little crowd in at the moment, isn't there, Graces?
Yeah, it's good to see the left hand of the stadium's nearly full. And yeah, it's really good to see after the turnout for the men's game that there's plenty.
Academy, Sophie Spice, Sasha Grove, Mia McGovern, Demi Nikias and Cecilia Matic. Their substitutes, and for Canberra FC, Georgia Stewart, Hywart Johnston, Isabella Tamaro, Diane Wilson and Zoe Langtree. So I'm sure we'll see the substitutes later on today. There'll be options for both teams.
Yeah, and I think the best thing about the substitutions is both teams, they've had a lot of game time in first grade, and so when they come on, they'll be able to make an impact. And we've seen Bella Tamaro play a lot of games, and she's quite young as well. And then you've got some of the academy players like little Sasha, who
Ryan Grogan choose to use later on. At the moment, his side have to defend this free kick, which Galich is going to lift into the penalty area. There is a height advantage to FC. Noticeably in Grace Gill and Rachel Goldstein in the middle there. Galich has fired it towards goal, in fact. Very ambitious effort.
Yeah, it was interesting. Grace Gill was completely unmarked there. The academy girls just decided to ignore rather than one step up to mark her, and if that ball had floated in far post, that would have been a free header.
Galich instead, whether she chose to go for the shot or got it wrong, only she'll know. Here's McLaughlin. Finds Wright. It's battle in midfield between Berkeley and Hughes. Shows her strength there. Tough customer, Jamie Berkeley in midfield. Difficult to shove off the ball. Morgan finds Mulhall. The header was a bit loose and Wright just sends that one forward over the head of DeMarco. It's tidied up by those in green, but given away to Grace Gill. Higgins touch to Berkeley. She looks for the runner, but half blocked. And Churchill in turn sends it forward, and it's all a little bit scrappy at the moment. Neither side able to shake off the shackles and create a meaningful opening.
Yeah, both teams seem to have an excess number in the back protecting their goal. Not quite risking throwing numbers forward just yet, but yeah, you could just see then you had 6 academy players all in the back line, so they're definitely looking to keep a clean sheet.
And that's probably the occasion, isn't it, Grace, to be honest? It's a winner takes all. Last chance for both of these sides. Grace Gill's over this free kick, which means that Galich can wander in towards the far post, and Gill's delivery is good, but so is the clearance at the back by Colville.
Yeah, and again, in the reverse role, was Ivana Galich wasn't picked up at all, and if that ball had have been drifted in there, another free header, and that could prove costly if the academy, someone doesn't start stepping up and marking the tall timbers.
So there's been several free kicks, set pieces that they've had so far, FC. Here's Gill. Hagen switches play to Berkeley. Bit of space for her to work into if she can get hold of this ball. Maybe deliver something in, but win for the first time and win. Perhaps a touch would have been a better option in that position.
Yeah, I mean, if it had been on target, it might have tested Sally a little bit, but yeah, just a bit of a careless giveaway there.
James, who came on in the Federation Cup final, started as a substitute. Taylor Young's ball forward. Good foot in that by Hagen. Disrupting well in the middle of the moment, not letting the academy get into any sort of groove. Here's Taylor Young. Loses out there. Berkeley. Now Hagen. Looks for Genovese. Morgan sticks tightly to her. Manages to get her pass away though. And still has it. Gill. Hagen. Good tracking back by Colville. She's not had a lot to do yet, Aoife Colville.
Yeah, she hasn't seen a lot of the ball. It doesn't really seem to be that link between their midfield and front line, and they're really calling for someone to be able to hold that ball up in that attacking midfield area so you can get numbers forward, and then Aoife can get stuck getting on the ball and doing what she does best.
That goal kick was not quite where James wanted it to go. Wright sent it back, and James will need to be careful here. It's a horrible one coming over the top of the stands with the sunshine, isn't it? Dealt with it well, though. Rusbakken. It's noticeable that fluidity that you talked about in the midfields between where Hughes and Rusbakken usually are linking up with Colville is absent at the moment because Hagen and Gill are doing, and Berkeley are doing such a good job.
Yeah, definitely. But you can also just see Hughes is really looking to get space and time off the ball, and for that she has to drop, and unfortunately it means that they aren't able to go forward threatening.
Well, here's Morgan looking to change all that. She's still going here as well. Gets a shot away. Lack the power to beat Vasta, but that's what she brings to the game, Sarah Morgan.
Yeah, she loves to run with the ball, and she's got a great left-footed strike. Sometimes it can be her undoing that she doesn't want to let go of the ball, but in other times I've seen her waltz through 5 or 6 plays only to finish on goal.
Not many defenders like giving away when they get a shooting opportunity, do they? Don't
No,
get up there very
true.
often. 5 goals for her this season, though. It's a decent return from a fullback. As I said, though, much more to a game than just defending. Every time I've seen her this season, I've been very impressed by her energy. It's a boundless energy. Seems to go for 90 minutes plus all the time.
Yeah, energy with how she runs. She's constantly talking, screaming sometimes at her players. But yeah, and that's what a lot of these younger players, they have this energy and excitement for the game, and for especially over the whole length of the season, they've really worked up to that 90 minutes match fitness, and it will be really interesting actually if it does go into extra time today, if they can keep bringing that same energy throughout the 120 minutes.
Here's Gill to Berkeley. It's fair to say FC have shaded the midfield battle, I think, at the moment. Midway through the first half, live on Bar TV Sports, women's preliminary round football, final football rather. It's Canberra United Academy 0, Canberra FC 0. Game must be decided today, of course. As Grace just alluded to, we'll have extra time and penalties should we need it. Here's Lawless. Off on a run, but she's run straight into Goldstein. Wins herself a throw in there. A couple of people have braved the open stands on the far side. When that wind picks up, it's pretty chilly. But the sun's out and it's a beautiful day for football. An academy looking to build a meaningful attack. Morgan finds Mulhall. Hasn't had much change out of Wright this afternoon, has she?
No, not at all. It's been another good battle. Different players are Mulhall's a very individual player. Will try to take her on, and Bridget doesn't seem to like getting forward that often. So I'm sure Mulhall will like that, not having to track back too much.
Rosbarkin starting the move from the back again. Lawless looking for the run of Taylor Young. Twisting and turning, trying to find some space. DeMarco from Agnew. Hughes battling away. The FC come up with it again from Hagen, but she's turned that one over. See Chantal Jones on the edge of the technical area, barking out some instructions.
She'll do it whether she's in goals on the field or on the sidelines. But she's a very intelligent footballer, and she knows exactly what she's talking about. Speaking
of intelligent footballers, that's a great ball from Rosbarkin. Brought it out of defence, asked Mulhall to chase, and across come Galich. That's the most dangerous the academy have looked, isn't it, when Kylie Rosbarkin's been bringing it out from the back four?
Yeah, and I think she's had a fair few more opportunities that she could have done that, but obviously she's picking the right moments, and so far she's created a few threatening chances, and something that Canberra FC are going to have to start working out who's going to step when she drives that ball into the midfield.
Hulse goes square. Rosbarkin. Getting the short ball to Lawless. She's going to get it back. No rush to do anything, which is how they like to play football. They like to keep possession. Here's Hughes. She'll do well to keep possession there with Gill and Berkeley both around her. Foot in by Morgan. It's back with Gill again, though. Now McLaughlin. Really ready for this one to spark into life. Here's Colville. First chance she's had to run at the opposition, and she's tried to dip from distance and never going to threaten Vasta with that one, but you can see that was born more frustrated than anything.
Yeah, definitely. I think she just wants to, strikers always want to start getting a few shots away, getting a feel for the game, and I'm sure Taylor Young would have loved to have the ball played through to her, but Colville, scoring the amount of goals she has, and has every right to take the shot.
It's hard to argue with someone that scored that many, isn't it, when they're not passing you the ball?
Yeah, exactly. And, if it goes in, you just look silly if you're questioning why they'd try shoot.
Didn't work for on that occasion. It's been relatively quiet, the league's leading goal scorer, as have most of the forwards on display, because it's been a defensive masterclass from both teams at the moment. That may all change, though. There's Genovese. That touch was a bit heavy. She's not happy with herself. Morgan will take the throw right in front of the academy bench. Hagen. There's Evans. She's robbed far too easily by Rosbarkin. That won't please Mark Gristeski, will it? Now here's Churchill. Battling with Taylor Young once again. And Taylor Young wins it that time. Each time that they've been in the opposition half, it's been the defender that's come out on top in that battle so far.
Yeah, everyone so far has been doing their defensive duties.
Now here's Colville running a channel. Chance for her to run at Galich. Into the penalty area. Aoife Colville, off she goes, pulls it back for Hughes. And Canberra United Academy, just like that, have the lead. Colville's run into the box, pulls it back, and Hughes side-foots it in, and the Academy are in front.
Yeah, fantastic goal, really good build-up. Colville's skimmed two defenders there and done the selfless thing and laid it back for a simple tap-in, but nonetheless, it was still had to be put in the back of the net by Hughes, and they'll be very happy with that. And I think that just goes to show the patience in their build-up gets rewarded with a goal.
18th of the season for Laura Hughes. Second top scorer in the Canberra United team. That's her 16th league goal, a couple of goals in the cup as well. So she knows where the target is, and that might change the dynamic of the game a little. Yeah, exactly. Now, there's something to play for. The Canberra FC who will have to look to get a goal back if they want to stay in it. So that's when holes will start opening up and risks will start being taken. And I'm sure Academy are going to keep trying to score more, but even more so be more defensively switched on. It's the first time we saw Colville in any sort of way, shape or form as an attacking player, apart from the free kick from distance. And she showed what she's got in the locker, not only the ability to go past players, but to pick the right pass at the right time. Yeah, exactly. And that's what
you want a goal scorer in your striker, but you also want someone that knows when that shot isn't quite on, that they provide the assist.
Maybe she's feeling a bit guilty about the shot she took on a couple of minutes before. Here's Rose Barkin at the back. Good challenge up by Hagan on Hughes, the goal scorer. Rose Barkin again. DeMarco. And Hughes. Worst possible thing for Canberra FC, because it's quite hard to get it off this academy team at the best of times, isn't it? When they're leading 1-0. As I say that, they give it away. That's typical.
Yeah.
You've been involved in this setup for a while, Grace, the Canberra United setup, before you moved on to bigger things. And at the academy level, how often are these girls training together?
Yeah, it usually would range from 3 to 4 times a week with your game, and then you'd have a gym session or 2. Swaps now, I believe they're doing four trainings a week with the game. The girls this season have had such a high load of games with the NTC, the Federation Cup, catch-up games, and then also the league season. So it's, getting them used to that high intensity and the repetition, but also looking after their bodies while they're still growing.
These kind of finals football, when they've played 4 or 5 games over the course of the last 2 weeks as well, with rearranged games and cup matches as well. Good preparation for tournaments down the line as they get up to bigger levels as well, where you're playing matches every 2 or 3 days anyway.
Yeah, 100%. I remember getting my first kind of taste of that heavy load when I had a tournament a couple of years ago in Myanmar, and it was a 2-day turnaround, and it was 5 games, and you use the whole of your squad, but I was asked to play 3 games in a row, and that knowing how to play smart really changes how you approach tournaments compared to...
Well, Berkeley's dropped one in. Sort of cut across your point there.
Okay.
For a moment there, it looked like he was going to catch Sally James out. But I think credit to the goalkeeper. She probably had that covered.
Yeah, saw it coming, but
just
yeah.
To finish your point.
Yeah, so it's really different when you have those high-intensity matches. You've got to be a bit smarter in how you play, and can you conserve your energy in games when you're winning, and where do you lay it all on the line. And Ryan has been speaking to the girls about that. He's gave them a couple of days off at the start of the week for that exact reason, that they need to manage their load so they don't have heavy legs coming into these important elimination games.
Well, they're certainly playing the game within itself at the moment. They have the goal, which is what they wanted. Scored by Laura Hughes. Ball's forward towards Genovese. Good head of that, clear by Hulse. Well, that's a lovely little ball over the top from Morgan to Mulhall. Now Colville wants it ahead of her, and here she goes, off after it again on her own. Little in the way of support at the moment. Couple of shirts arriving. Colville just twisting and turning, looking to get away. Pulls it back. Chance for Taylor Young. Didn't quite get hold of it, though. Still might fall for Mulhall, but that's a good clearance by Berkeley sliding in. Goldstein at the other end. Turns away from Rose Barkin and tries to slide it through to Genovese. But the academy survived that one. Good break from the team in green.
Yeah, it was a great little bit of play from both sides. Again, Colville did really well. I would have backed her to hit that across the face of the goal on her left foot and maybe try to go bottom corner, but she still did the right thing in keeping the ball and put in a great cross. It's just unfortunate that it couldn't be redirected in the back of the net.
If she doesn't score today, you can blame me. I've commentated on 3 of her games this year, and I don't think she scored in any of them. For a side player that scored 45 goals this season as well.
I don't think she'll mind too much, as long as at the end of the day that's a win for the green.
Well, she certainly played her part, setting up the goal for Hughes, who's there penalised for handball. She looks nonplussed at referee Harry Shield. And Galich will take this free kick. 10 minutes to half-time. Canberra Academy leading 1-0, booking their 4th day game against Balcony United in the space of about 3 weeks at the moment. Still plenty of time to go, though. Rose Barkin. Now Taylor Young. This is the furthest she's been away from Churchill the whole game. Now can she run at the fullback? Looks to get the shot away. It bounced off Churchill's foot, and that took the sting out of it for Vasta.
You can start to see the game's really opening up now that it's a bit more of a transition. There's bigger holes and a lot more space for their attackers and midfielders, and I hope to see plenty more goals.
We hope there will be. I've got a feeling there will be. Here's Morgan, hustled once again by Krista Hagen. Rosbakken will step forward to get that, but let's come off of Hagen's foot as far as Morgan. Intelligent little peel off there by Hughes to create the space, and nice pass at the end of it as well for Taylor Young. Just going to roll away from her. Good perception of visual awareness there for Hughes to understand where the pocket of space was to drop off and get the pass.
Yeah, it was a really good little bit of play. And then exactly what you start to look for when she can get that space a little bit higher up on the park, she can start linking with her forwards, and then it's a lot more threatening than being in your own half and doing the same.
DeMarco. Finds Rosbakken. Now Hughes. Rosbakken's continued the run. Looks to find Morgan. It's going to get to her by way of the shin of Berkeley. Out wide here to Mulhall. Now can she deliver something? No, she can't because the flag is up. They look dangerous though when Carly Rosbakken likes to bring it forward. We've mentioned it before, and she does offer something different when she's in that midfield.
Yeah, she's really positive going forward, makes really threatening runs, so even if the ball isn't played to her, it moves the defenders, and it's even better when you're coming from deep because you usually don't have a player that's marking you.
Hughes spins it wide. Here's Taylor Young again. Looks to find Colvin, and McLaughlin tidies up, concedes to throw. There's a few injuries in the Canberra United squad as well, isn't there? Emilia Lioski's not here today. She's away with Is she away with
the junior
Matildas?
Yeah,
that's
national
right.
duty in her first tournament. So it was very exciting. Congratulations to her. And yeah, then they've got a fair few injuries, and I know
Barach is out injured, isn't she?
Yeah, and I know Colville's been struggling with a bit of a sore back. And then you've got some of the younger girls, Jade Truan, who have been out for a lot of the season with ACL injuries.
It's that time of year, isn't it, when the games are piling up and trying to get through towards the end of the season. The adrenaline helps. Having a 1-0 lead 8 minutes before half-time would help.
Yeah.
Certainly make it a lot easier. That goal from Laura Hughes after the half hour divides the two teams at the moment. It was Agnew who played that one forward. She was nominally put on our team sheet in the formation as a fullback, but she's played a bit further forward today, hasn't she? Laura Agnew?
Yeah, and I think they've put down as more of that traditional 4-3-3. But like I was saying, Carly acts as that centre back that comes forward, but when there's three at the back, their fullbacks can get forward, and you've seen Agnew and Morgan are both getting inside as well, and almost like extra midfielders.
Throws back and then Lawless. They played countless passes to each other today, probably thousands during the season. Nice little move from Lawless to find DeMarco in midfield, but the ball's run away from her, and Hagen's picked it up. Here's Gill. She'll be looking to have a bit more influence on it than she has so far, and that's a decent-looking ball looking for Wrights on the overlap, and Morgan does the safety first thing, concedes the corner. Chance, perhaps, for Gill, Goldstein, and Galich, who's, I wouldn't say she's jogging forward, just strolling casually.
Catch her break now. And
so they're not picking up player for player, are they? They're more of a zonal marking off these corners.
And I think that's wise. They'll have a couple that man mark, but wise for especially a younger side that aren't as tall to zonally mark. They have their area. They know if it's coming in there, they need to win it. Man marking's quite hard and usually only done with really big aerial threats.
Well, let's see if Krista Hagen can provide something from the corner. It's a decent knock that is in. James comes, gets a fist. It's going to fall for Gill, who drives it back in and rifles it home. Grace Gill doesn't mind a finals goal. She got the equaliser here in the GF last year that sent the game to extra time. She's got the equaliser here 5 minutes before half-time. A little contentious. Some of the academy players claiming that maybe James was fouled, but when it came out to Gill, goodness me, she gave that a belt.
Yeah, look, it's a bit controversial. Some refs are usually very protective of the goalies, and it did appear that James was taken out, but perhaps wasn't enough in the sense that she's still got a hand to it and can't take away the finish from Grace Gill.
We don't have the benefit of the replay screen here. I might try and check on that at half-time, but Sally James is holding her back as if she was collected. When it came out to Gill, it needed finishing, though, and she certainly gave it some venom. Thrushed it through the crowd of players. If anyone had got in the way of that, they may have been taken into the net with it. Talk about hitting the sweet spot on the ball.
Yeah, those are... You get those very few in a game and even fewer that go in there. By being able to hit that ball hard enough to be under the crossbar but through all the players is no easy feat, and she'll be stoked with that goal.
Credit to Krista Hagan as well for the delivery. It was a dangerous-looking ball in, wasn't it? It was asking for someone to initially get on it with her head, and when it dropped to Gill, she gave it some violence, and we're all square. It's 1-1. It's Berkeley. Here is Hagan, who delivered that ball, and she's won herself a free kick. 4 minutes to the break, and we're no closer to knowing who Balcony United will be playing in next week's grand final. Gill will take the free kick. Berkeley's jogging in on the far post, completely unmarked. Galich is walking to the edge of the penalty area now. Plenty of red shirts forward, as you would expect. Looking to turn this one on its head. Gill chips it into the penalty area. It bounces, and James is there. The men's team did it last night. 1-0 down, 2-1 up. Teddy Young onto this near side, and Churchill was ahead of Mulhall. Come across from the other full-back position to make the challenge on the opposite winger. Here's Hughes. Just going to get it back again, Morgan here. Just too high for her. And it's Canberra FC who are on the front foot now. They can feel the momentum shift towards them. It's amazing what a goal does, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're using their experience, knowing that they've got themselves back into the game, that they can slow it down, play it a bit more at their pace, and take it back a bit of the momentum.
Berkeley, Hagan, Genovese tried to return it. Nice idea. Morgan, though, was there. He's right. Interestingly, they've switched the fullbacks around. Is that to give Churchill a break from Taylor Young, perhaps, as Vasta comes to clear?
Yeah, probably, or maybe for Churchill to be able to get forward a little bit without being tracked by Taylor Young. But they've obviously sensed some weakness on one of the sides and decided to swap.
There's Genovese. She's got plenty of pace. Passes, though, too short for DeMarco. And Morgan will bring it clear. Happy to go back to start again. Here's Rosebakken. Tries to lure Gill into the challenge. Berkeley thrushes that into Goldstein. And Morgan clears up. Who do you think's happier right about now, Grace? Ryan Grogan or Mark Risteski?
Look, I think Mark and Chantel probably will be a bit happier as the team's adapted towards the back end of the half. I think Ryan would have been happy up until those last 15 minutes where they've stopped looking to go forward and their possession isn't so purposeful, and Canberra FC have gained momentum back and seem to be pushing a little bit harder than the academy at the moment.
Here's Taylor Young looking to bustle her way through, but Evans was back there. Lawless looks for the winger again. Favourite outlet, and here she goes. McLaughlin toes it forward. Goldstein's in there challenging. And the free kick given for a foul on Stella DeMarco, and Rosebakken wants to go early, but the ball was moving. It's ironic, really, isn't it? We've hardly had a shot on target, and yet it's 1-1.
Yeah, and there you go. They're being so far clinical with the opportunities that have come in. But yeah, now that it's back to square one, teams may start to look to be a little bit more cautious. But as those legs start to tire, mistakes will creep in, and someone's got to punish.
Churchill will see that one out. We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. The sun's gone down. Means the temperature will drop by about 10 degrees shortly. Free kick to Canberra United Academy. Much to the disappointment of the FC bench and support. A chance for the youngsters to get something before the break if they can, to re-establish their lead. Morgan will take. Look to deliver it into a dangerous area with his left foot. She could go short to Mulhall if she wanted. Decides against it though, swings it in, and the header was won at the far post, but never going to challenge the goalkeeper from that range. Colville put herself in the position though. Decent delivery from Morgan, Grace.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, yeah, it was perhaps a little bit too short of the behind the defensive line to pose any threat if there was some contact on the ball, but most important was she cleared the first line, and they're managing to find the target.
Well, Vasta behind the goal kick. We played a minute and a half of time added on at the end of the first half, an entertaining first half. It took a while to get going. And that is the half-time whistle. And at the break, Grace, nothing between the sides. Yeah,
the momentum's been shifting either way. Academy looking really strong and calm on the ball early on, but Canberra FC have shown their resilience to get one back, and I'm sure the half-time talks will be all the difference to see who comes out on top.
Well, this is it. Mark Grostesky and Chantal Jones for Canberra FC, and Ryan Grogan from Canberra United Academy about to earn their corn as they take their teams in at half-time in the women's preliminary final. Belconnen United await the winners. We're still no closer to knowing who that is, because Laura Hughes' goal on the half-hour mark was cancelled out by Grace Gill's thunderous strike 10 minutes later in possibly controversial circumstances. At half-time here at McKellar Park, it's the Canberra United Academy 1, Canberra FC 1. Welcome back to McKellar Park. Second half of the women's preliminary final here between Canberra United Academy and Canberra FC. And at half-time, the Academy lead by a goal to nil. No, they don't. It's 1-1, sorry. Laura Hughes' goal cancelled out by Grace Gill. What I wanted to talk to you about, though, Grace, Amar, who's with me here in the commentary box, is a couple of incidents in the first half. We've looked again on video. A free kick from Aoife Colville that looked to have gone in, and a bit of confusion whether the linesman's given the goal and the referee hasn't.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was over the line, but from these angles, it's one of those things. It's why they get goal line technology. It's always hard to see, but yeah, it appeared to go in quite clearly, and the linesman looked as though she had signalled for it to be a goal. So, not sure what's happened there. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what the explanation is around that. And then the equaliser, I've looked at it again on video, and it does look like there's contact between Galich and the goalkeeper, Sally James. And in this day and age, usually you breathe in the vicinity of a goalkeeper and you get a free kick. So even though the finish from Gill was outstanding, the Academy can feel a little bit hard done by.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that goal changed the momentum of the game, and you started seeing Canberra FC on the front foot. And I even saw just little things at half-time of frustration within the Academy players within each other, and it's definitely not something you want going into this second half.
But on the balance of play, 1-1 seems pretty fair, I think. Chances have been few and far between from both teams.
Yeah, and I think it will be make for an interesting second half, level playing fields, and someone's going to have to score if they want to win this game.
Well, referee Harry Shield and his assistants Lauren Hargrave and Carlina Mullets coming onto the field. Scott Boone is the fourth official. Just to run through the sides again, Canberra United, James in goal. Back four is today Morgan Hulse? Keep getting it wrong.
Hulse, yeah.
Hulse. Sorry to Courtney. Hulse. Lawless and Rosbach and Agnew, Hughes, DeMarco, Young, Colville and Mulhall. Canberra FC, Vaster in goal, Wright, Galich, McLaughlin, Churchill, Hagan, Berkeley and Gill, Genovese, Evans and Goldstein. So I asked you before kickoff who you thought would win and why. Any change to that prediction?
I don't think change the prediction, but I think this is going to be a real test for the Academy side, whether they can come out on top. Canberra FC are used to playing in finals football, and they know what they need to do to hold off, even if it is a clean sheet to get a clean sheet in the second half to get all the way through to penalties. But I think the Academy side still have it in them, and will play out this 90 minutes to the best of their ability.
First touch of the second half for Morgan, who looked bright throughout the first 45 rather. His Colville goes down into the challenge of Galich. Looks to find Goldstein. Hulse is there. Goldstein again. Twisting and turning, trying to find a gap. Looking for Evans. Goldstein trying to bustle her way through, but there's Rosbach. And shifts the momentum in favour of the side that scored it, isn't it?
Yeah, and they come into the change rooms excited to get back in the game rather than for the Academy side coming in knowing they've just given up their lead so close to half-time. And it is one of those things that it's a mental battle as well as a physical.
Gill, back to Galich. That was Grace Gill's 16th goal of the season. Great return for her. Especially she plays so deep from goal. Churchill looks a little 1-2 and gets it back. That's nicely done from Berkeley. There's a chance for Evans to run in behind, and the pace of Lawless, the rangy stride, comes across to win the ball. She'll be asked to do the same again. Long legs there of Molly Lawless, just stretching around the corner. Here's Berkeley. Gill. Evans. Gill once more. Goldstein. Nice build up this FC. Gill. Hagan's turn. Genovese. Hagan again. Looks to swing it in. Good piece of defending from Rosbach so that she doesn't concede the corner, but that was nice from FC. Nice little period of play.
Yeah, it was a really good third-man run from Hagan, and she's such a workhorse in that midfield. And if she starts making runs into those wide areas, she can start posing a real threat to the Academy backline.
Sally James looks to have recovered from the knock. She was walking off fairly gingerly at half-time, wasn't she, after that?
Yeah, it's probably just taken her a little bit and almost looked like she got the wind knocked out of her, but I'm sure that won't stop her from finishing out the game.
Churchill wins the header. Culver's going to challenge with Berkeley. And Culver gets there and is fouled by Galich. Fairly needless foul because there's no way that Culver was going to get on the end of that as quick as she is. Hulse takes it. Finds Morgan. It's a good tackle, that. By Hagen, and she looks for Goldstein, and Rosebucken is back there. She offers a lot defensively, Carly Rosebucken, but I'd personally like to see her just a little bit further forward to help create the opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, the coach's decision of what's the most important, and I think in finals football, you know, if you don't concede, you can't lose, and you can see the game out and still win it, not having scored a goal in regulation time. So I think that's why Ryan's gone with the safety in the back line, and knowing that Colville has plenty of goals, and so do to a lot of the forward players.
Here's Colville. Very isolated when she picked the ball up. There was 5 red shirts in her vicinity and not 1 green one, and she's done exceptionally well to win a free kick. Mark Krastevsky not happy having a go at the fourth. Was that Chantal Jones telling him to go and sit back down?
Yeah, she's making sure that the game doesn't escalate at the moment.
Policing the area like a fourth official herself.
No, I'm sure she's had a fair share of experiences with poor referees, and she knows that at the end it doesn't end well if you fight back.
To be fair, Mark just did what he was told.
Yeah.
Go and sit back down. Okay. I'm not going to argue with Chantal Jones. Evans on her bike and coming across to challenge his Hulse. Gets a foot in. Concedes a corner. Now, the last time FC had a corner, they scored. As you said, may have been in controversial circumstances, but take nothing away from the contact that Grace Gill made. Can they do something from this set piece? Gill's going to take it herself, it looks. Hagen wants it short. Morgan's retreated quite the distance. Here's Hagen. Finds Gill. Shot's always fading wide of goal. Nicely worked though. Something they've probably worked on the training ground. James sends that down. Here's Berkeley. Loses out now. Rosebucken can stretch the legs. Looks for Colville. A little bit of space for Aoife Colville to run into. Can she get the shot away? Elects to come wide to Taylor Young, but the flag was up for offside. Surprised Colville didn't pull the trigger?
Yeah, I think Amy McLaughlin did just enough to not give her the space to have that clear shot on goal, and you know, she did the right thing in laying it off, and it just got to be a little bit more disciplined there from Taylor Young. She can see the whole line, and you got to keep yourself on side, otherwise you just give away those cheap turnovers.
6 minutes, second half gone live on Bar TV Sports. It's Canberra United 1, Canberra FC 1 in the women's preliminary final. Armrest gives you a commentator. That was the voice of Grace Marr, formerly of Canberra United, soon to be of another W League team.
Yes.
Yet to be announced.
Yes.
Sure, we'll hear some news sometime in the next 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Competition starts soon, so it'll have to be soon.
I know, it'll have to be. Otherwise, I'll just turn up to a game and you'll have to wait and see.
Take your boots and see what happens.
Pick a colour for the day.
Here's Evans. Churchill. Hagen. You played this season, though, with Canberra Olympic in the local competition. How much of a benefit is that to you and for players in the W League to be able to play NPL football, just to keep ticking over?
Yeah, I think it was good. It suited me this season. Previous seasons, I've either been in the academy side or I've played with the boys to keep me fit in the off season. But I guess the playing with the Canberra Olympic team was really good when I was coming back from surgery and just being able to get the minutes into my legs, and it has worked really well for a good pre-season for me. And as much as I would have loved to have kept on playing, yeah, it's now my focus is switching to the W League.
Sure, there'll be plenty of players here that will be watching that. There's going to be a substitution here for Canberra FC. Going to see Isabella Tamaro. Chance for her to come on, and Amy McLaughlin has done well today.
Yeah, she seems to be struggling with... She picked up an ankle knock in the game last weekend against Olympic, and it seems to be playing up a little bit. But nonetheless, Tamaro's got a lot of experience now in that centre-back role alongside Galich, and I'm sure she'll slot in just nicely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with McLaughlin if she's warmed that up and got through 45 minutes, and then that 15 minutes at half-time where it's cooled down probably not helped her.
Yeah, most likely.
Not a bad replacement, though, in Tamaro. She'll slot into that defensive role and be tasked with helping keep Colville quiet. Off goes Rosebarken again. Finds Colville. Better builds up this. Good ball from Hughes to Taylor Young. Just showed a bit too much of that to Churchill. Morgan's there. Battling away with Evans. Sorry, Agnew rather. Battling away with Evans. Lawless defending. Hughes in with Berkeley. It's going to roll free for Morgan on the far side. And that's read by Wright, who concedes a throw. Academy look very dangerous when Rosebarken brings it forward. It creates that extra player in midfield. Here's a chance for Mulhall to find Colville on the edge of the penalty area. She looks to go away, and she's bundled over by Berkeley, and this is a free kick in a dangerous position. Yeah,
I think that was really unnecessary. Colville had kind of lost her touch, and then it was just a clumsy arm out to knock her off balance, which ultimately is giving away the foul, but in a dangerous position, and I think she's, again, not letting anyone else have this one. She wants to get her name on the score sheet.
Well, Hughes was in the vicinity, and so was Morgan. Hughes has now walked away from it. It's going to be Colville, though. You'd be surprised. Morgan's behind it. It is Colville who's lining one up. Here is he for Colville. Clips it over the wall. Hits the post. And the rebound is turned in by Courtney House. From close range, the central defender, who hasn't scored a goal all season, pops up on the big occasion to give Academy the lead.
Yeah, you can see she hasn't scored all season. There was almost a little bit of disbelief when she turned around, realising that ball had hit the back of the net. But again, a really nice place free kick, and supposedly does them justice for the free kick earlier in the first half.
Said it yesterday with Steve Forshaw when we were commentating against these finals. It's always someone you never expect that comes up with a goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd have had long odds on Courtney House to get one today.
Yeah, no, I'm sure she'll be very excited, and again, it'll be a good lift for the Academy to gain momentum back and start controlling this game.
Needs to work on that celebration a bit, doesn't she?
I'm very similar. When you're not expecting to score, you get a bit just excited, and the arms just go out in the air, and perhaps if she becomes a bit more of a regular scorer, she'll think of some sort of celebration.
It's a good finish. She followed it up. She was alert. Colville's free kick coming back off the post. And Hulse giving Academy the lead. Here's Rosebarken defending. Goldstein putting her under pressure. Good pace from Kylie Rosebarken. Do you think we might see her in a defensive role for Canberra United this year?
Yeah, I think she was playing a lot last year as a fullback. Flexible to be a winger as well. But she's been more recently with the Young Matildas and Future Matildas program as a fullback. They love her getting up and down that flank, and I think that's where she'll slot in for the season.
Like most of these Canberra United Academy players, plenty of energy. Happy to run backwards and forwards, do the shuttles. Doesn't come quite so naturally as you get older, does it, Grace?
No. Despite only being a couple of years older, you do definitely realise the days in which the 24 hours of energy and being able to play tournaments game after game in a single day slowly fades away.
Seems a long way back, doesn't it, when you make a 60 or 70 yard run forward?
Yeah.
Corner to Canberra SC. Krista Hagen setting up the set piece. They trailed in the first half and came back via a set piece. Can they do the same thing again? Hagen's delivery once more is excellent. It's going to drop, but this time it just drifted and landed on the roof of the net. James not called into action on that occasion. 30 minutes gone in the second half. Live on Bar TV Sports. It's Canberra United Academy leading Canberra FC by 2-1. Exactly the same scoreline as it was in the Federation Cup semi-final between these pair the last time they met this season. Wasn't much between them in any of the games this year, and Canberra FC is still far from out of this one. Here's Hulse, who scored the goal. Buzzing on confidence now, of course. Agnew will take the throw. Goes short to Taylor Young. And Churchill gives it a little nudge in the back. Soft one, but probably the correct decision. Hughes taking their time with the free kick. Only Colville anywhere near the vicinity of the penalty area at the moment. So Hughes decides to come back, unsurprisingly. Hulse finds Taylor Young, whose pass is picked off by Berkeley. Goldstein. Now Gill. Good ball from Gill, and Berkeley's got through, and the flag has stayed down. Only Genovese in the box at the moment. Red shirts flooding forward to help out. One of them was Goldstein, and her volley was always going away from goal, but nice build-up and a very precise pass from Gill.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the Academy don't want to start seeing, is Gill getting time on the ball to thread those passes through and create dangerous crosses into the box. So yeah, they'll have to start picking that up a little bit more tight.
Floodlights on here at McKellar Park. It's not that cold an evening tonight, is it, Grace? It's not too bad. We've had worse.
Yeah, I was going to say, not compared to previous games, but yeah, as that sun sets, it definitely drops down a couple degrees.
Here's Hughes. No, it's not that cold because Shane on the camera's only got one layer on or two layers on today. Hasn't got the.
We haven't had to pull out the hand warmers just yet.
Not just yet. He says 3 layers. He's got his hoodie up though. Ball forwards. Colville chasing. Across comes Tamaro. Good foot in. Play a team 5 times a season. You get to know them pretty well, Grace.
Yeah, it's rare for, especially so regularly. It's a short season. I think we played CFC 3 times in the space of a month, just how the draw worked out. But it's good in a way because you get to quickly turn the reflection of the previous game into putting it onto paper. And yeah, I'm sure for Canberra Academy, I think if they win this one and go on to play Belcon, it becomes 6 or 7 times they've played them.
Stick to the back teeth of each other by the end of the season. Well, the Academy will be if they don't pick up a win against them. None from 4, I think, at the moment. Still half an hour or so to see out today before they can start thinking about next week. At the moment, they're in the box seat, though, and Hughes chasing down to the corner flag, looking to keep this in, and coming across the challenge was Hagen to concede the throw. Both sides might look to change things again. We've had the one change so far down in the area. That's a chance for the Academy to keep pushing. Agnew has it, but she lets it run to Hulse. Rosparkin. Lawless. And now Morgan. Academy will be happy to keep this for as long as they can. They're under no pressure at the moment. Morgan's passed down the wing, and that's asking an awful lot of Mulhall. As we mentioned, Grace, plenty of youngsters on the bench for Canberra United. Spice, Grove, McGovern, Nikias and Matic. Ryan Grogan's got them warming up, so he might be thinking about a change.
Yeah, I think might see the introduction of Sasha Grove depending on how the front line's holding up, if they've got any knocks. She's a really good, really young player that's just works in and around. Often you can't see her coming, and even now, yeah, Taylor's gone down and might be time for a substitution.
And her touch is picked off by Hulse. Now here's Colville. Looks to switch play to Morgan. Nicely done. That's a overhit ball from Morgan now, and Mulhall's never getting anywhere near that. Vasta, who's not really done a lot wrong today, so she conceded twice, and sometimes for a goalkeeper there's nothing you can do. Yeah,
exactly. She has actually not had to have a lot. They haven't had set pieces, not many goal kicks, but yeah, at the end of the day she's had 2 put in against her.
Almost Grace Gill through the middle there for Canberra FC. Agnew, his touch is heavy. Berkeley takes it off and will do well to keep it in. She does, but only for Agnew, but then she wins it back again. Well done by the FC midfielder. Here's Gill. Evans. Back to Berkeley, who's having a real influence in this second half at the moment. Hagen. Goldstein. Looks to help it around the corner. And Hulse was there in the defensive role, and shown she's useful at both ends of the park today. Here's Wright. Gill. Created a bit of space. Berkeley again. Churchill. They've had some spells like this, haven't they, without having an end product at the moment. Too often they've turned the ball over in situations where they've looked threatening. And here's Hughes. Colville wanted it short. Hughes wanted it to go long. Bit of a miscommunication.
Yeah, and you can start to see there's been a couple of times that, you know, misread the runs, or the ball's been played on the wrong side, but it's, you know, that's fine. But you can see there's a bit of frustration and that tension within the players. It's creeping on, and they need to stay strong if they need it, if they want to hold out and get the win.
Agnew just taps it out of play. Didn't want to risk a pass back to a goalkeeper from that angle. And Alice Churchill will take the throw in. Goldstein. Good ball in towards Genovese. Might be picked up by Wright. Hooks it back into the middle towards Gill, who wins the header. Will it fall for Genovese here? It won't. She couldn't quite keep it in. Another dangerous moment there for FC. Genovese just lacking in inches to get on the end of that first cross. Another change going to happen shortly in front of us here, Grace, for Canberra FC.
Yeah, it looks as though
Georgia Stewart,
the goalkeeper, is going to come on the field. Be interesting to see if she's going to go up top, or you know, as goalkeepers often do. We saw in the under-20s yesterday with Finn Durack coming on as a winger and helping change the game. So
he changed the dynamic, didn't he, with his energy and enthusiasm. The whole team seemed to lift. So whether or not the same thing will happen here, I've seen Canberra FC play a number of times in the past, and Georgia Stewart's always been in the sticks.
Yeah,
never seen her on the field.
No, it'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to the substitution.
Chantal Jones having a quick word with her there. Go and make a nuisance of yourself, perhaps.
Yeah, why not? That's what they find. Yeah, run free and
they're full of energy, goalkeepers on the field, aren't they?
Yeah, they're strong personalities, I think.
Well, she'll get the chance to come on in a moment. In the meantime, Canberra FC have a corner, which Krista Hagen will look to deliver dangerously if she can. Harry Shields wants to have a word with a couple of players. No Harry Kane-style World Cup grappling here, thank you. Hagen swings it in. Good-looking one, too. James doesn't come. Gill does. And got a good piece of it, but couldn't direct it on target.
Yeah, that was so close, and they've got the right idea with those, putting those balls into the box that are over the keeper. Gill's got a head and shoulder above the rest, and she just doesn't even need to jump, and she's above the academy players.
Well, she was close to winning it, wasn't she? You got a good piece on it. She'd be disappointed, I think, that she didn't actually get it on target, because if she had, it probably would have been 2-2.
Here we go. So, a similar substitution coming on as the wing. I'd love to see. I've never seen her play on the field before. So
Stewart comes on for Evans. Let's see what she can offer as a field player. Whole new career, maybe.
Yeah, they all like to think that, but
it's crazy, isn't it? Because you see many footballers like to be think they're a goalkeeper in training, but I'm not sure in a game I'd rather go in between the sticks. What about yourself, Grace?
I'm rather the one that's kicking at my teammates. I'll stick clear of all goals after breaking my arm trying to save one.
It's a good save. Here's Gill. Goldstein. Gill again. Stewart's taken up a position in the middle. Gill's run into trouble into Taylor Young. Now here's a chance perhaps for the academy on the break. Colville stretching the legs. Taylor Young outside her. Got good pace as well. Tamaro's come across to try and close down the angle. And in doing so, has seen Taylor Young run into Berkeley, who sends it forward towards Stewart. Nice little flick that, and Genovese's got pace to get in behind, and Rosbakken with a cool and calm piece of defending, probably the coolest person in the ground right then.
Yeah, that was a fantastic flick on actually, and with Genovese's pace, if Rosbakken hadn't been alert to it, would have been a one-on-one.
And Morgan's turned it over. Now here's Gill from distance, she dips one, and James just watches it wide. Little glance towards Grace Gillis to say, what do you think you're trying from there?
I love a long-range goal, and James was pretty well on her line, but those ones can sometimes catch the goalkeeper off if they're just floated in the back of the net, and she'll be disappointed that it didn't come off and get on target.
Halfway through the second half, Canberra United Academy have the ascendancy. They're 2-1 up. Have FC got a response for the second time in a game? Here's Agnew. Looks to thread it forward. It beat Churchill, but it couldn't beat Hagen. Stewart. Step over. Tries to squeeze it down the line. Got the fans excited.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like you said, it's has brought a new bit of energy. It's always nice to see a bit of flair, especially from a goalie who would never get to do a step over really in front of their own goals.
If they did, they'd be giving palpitations to their coaches, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Galich battling with Hughes. Prods it to Hagen. Gill. She clips one forward. Genovese had started to come. Now she's asked her to go again. She is quick, but so is Molly Lawless. Quite a leggy stride, Molly Lawless. She eats up the ground, doesn't she?
Yeah, got long limbs and long strides. So as much as her legs probably weren't moving as quick as Genovese, she still made up the ground.
2 strides to 1, near enough.
Yeah.
She's a threat, though. Genovese, we've seen it throughout the season. 6 goals for her. She'll be hoping to get an opportunity before the end of the game, and most of it is being played to our left at the moment as Canberra FC look to find their way back into the game, but they must be careful on the break, of course. Here's Churchill, the skipper. Berkeley stretching, but does well to divert it into the path of Hagen, who tried to fizz one in from distance. Rosbakken, who's been up there with player of the match, in my opinion, at the moment. What about yourself, Grace? She's been very good.
Yeah, it's been absolutely solid in the back line and underrated in the defensive runs that she's made to allow Canberra FC to not even pose a threat in front of goal. And yeah, I don't even know if there is the Man of the Match award, but she's definitely on top of the list at the moment.
There is if we give one.
Oh, okay.
Here's Hulse. James. Rosbakken turns. Stretching Hagen, almost got a touch on it, and it finds Morgan anyway. And she sends it down that wing towards Mulhall. But Vasta was out there quick.
Yeah, and you just see a couple of times there, Canberra Academy have given that ball away through a long ball, and it's really unnecessary. And, it's what you start to learn when you come into finals and you lead in the game. It's holding on to the ball and valuing your possession, knowing that as those final minutes tick in and the legs start to tire, cheap turnovers prove costly. That's
what the Academy are trying to do right now. Lawless tried to give it to Mulhall, and Orion Grogan throws his arms up in the air, out of picture. He wanted them to keep possession. Lawless tried to force it just a little bit there. Going to see a change shortly. Sasha Grove getting ready for action. The bright orange boots.
Yeah, you won't miss her. She's got quick lightning feet and really good at actually finishing in the back of the net if the opportunity presents itself. And sure she'll either coming into that midfield role or up front.
Well, Hughes apologises to Agnew, asked an awful lot of her to chase after that one. Teddy Young gets a head on it. Hughes wins it again. Shields the ball from Goldstein. DeMarco, been quietly effective today, Stella DeMarco. Sitting in that holding role and just keeping possession ticking over. Colville's header, couldn't find Mulhall. Now here's Genovese, but her touch lets her down. Mulhall finds Morgan. Space in the middle of the field. Telly Young now. Denied by Churchill. Agnew's there. Pressure by Goldstein. Agnew again, steps away. Still going, Lara Agnew. Good run this. Pulls it back for Hughes, who opened the scoring earlier. Couldn't get through the 3 red shirts that converged on her. Genovese's touch and turn. And defensively, Morgan tidies up. 16 or so minutes to go. Grace, can you see FC getting away back into this?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Tactically, they know what they have to do to be able to pinch a goal back at the very end. And they're certainly still bringing plenty of energy. I think the telltale will be whether Academy can keep their focus and their discipline.
Mark Grostowski still has Howard Johnson, Zoe Lancry and Diane Wilson on the bench. Could choose to introduce one of those. They need a goal if they just keep their season alive and go for a repeat of their grand final heroics here last year. Colville. Hughes' ball finds Taylor Young. Colville wants it back, but Tamaro was in there. It's a good battle here between Goldstein as well. She wins it. Looks for Stewart, but DeMarco's in the way. Stewart wins it back there. Nicely done. Berkeley. Misplaced pass. It's noticeable every time Colville gets a touch anywhere in the opposition third, there's a couple of shirts on and straight away. She's going to have to get used to that. Yeah,
and I think that's what CFC are really effective. That's what they were man marking 2 of them, Meg McLaughlin last week against us, and it really takes out their threat in behind and makes it the opposition have to find other ways of getting the ball to your star strikers, and they play that game really well. And yeah, Ivana again is just outstanding and won't let Colville have a breath.
Quarter of an hour to go, live on Bar TV Sports. Women's preliminary round football here in the nation's capital, and it's Canberra United Academy leading by 2-1. Goals from Laura Hughes and Courtney Hulse. Have the youngsters 2-1 up. We're going to see Sasha Grove come on. Wait and see who she replaces. Nobody wants to come off, Grace. Is it Mulhall on the far side?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Telly Young looking to switch wings. Sasha Grove, as you mentioned, 3 goals this season. One of the next generation of youngsters.
Yeah, I believe she's only 13 or 14.
Well, in fact, is it Colville he's dragging here? Change your plans?
I'm not sure if that was maybe a tactical call for him to not call Colville off until after the plays had swapped. I'm sure he's going to be aware of that clock ticking down.
Well, if any of Eva Colville's family and friends are watching and they wonder why she's not scored, it's because I'm here. 45 goals this season, and the 3 games I've done, she hasn't been able to get a shot on target near enough.
Yeah, she might have to ask for a new commentator.
But if they do get the final, I don't think I'm here next week, so she'll be all right. She'll probably get 6.
Yeah.
Here's Mulhall, ball in field. Good challenge by Hughes. She's got Grove ahead of her. Hughes cuts in field, and it's a lanky leg from Galich that denies her. Goldstein, Stewart's gone a little early. Challenging with Russ Barkin, who goes back to the keeper. Stewart looking to close down James. Gill, who scored the FC goal 5 minutes before half-time to bring them level. Can't get away from Agnew. but does win a throw. Goldstein. You think before the end they're going to get a half a chance? When you think so? When you, Grace, they'll shove everybody forwards and an opportunity might arise.
Yeah, I'd say in the next couple, probably about 10 minutes to go, Chantel's going to, well, they've already looked to have gone 3 at the back a little bit. Maybe Churchill pushes up, or even Bella Tamaro steps into the midfield. And yeah, I'm sure Chantel will be instructing that pretty soon, if not now.
Mark Rostesky, the head coach of Canberra FC, his last season this year. Do you think Chantel Jones might be a natural replacement?
I don't.
Let's go back to that in a second, because Stewart almost got through.
No, I don't believe she. I'm not sure if she will. Maybe not take on. She'd be a great coach, but
Player coach role.
yeah, there's a lot more than just turning up for the games for a coach, and whether she's able to do that while playing and working full time and rehabbing as well. She'll still be coming back from, or start coming back from her ACL injury, and but I'm sure no matter what, she'll be there to help the team on the park.
You've got a lot to offer, maybe later in her career. Maybe that's something to think about down the track. We're going to see Howard Johnston here. Another change for FC as they throw the kitchen sink at it. Wait to see who Johnston's going to replace. Looks like Genovese coming over from the far side. Worked tirelessly today. Hasn't quite come off her in the final third, though. She's run herself into the ground again, Grace.
Yeah, and has to do a last run to get off the park, which isn't the most pleasant of ones. But yeah, a good stint from her, and unfortunately just wasn't able to get the service that she needed today to find the back of the net.
Well, chances have been at a premium for both sides, to be honest, haven't they? We've had 3 goals, but there's only been around about 3 or 4 shots on target in the whole game.
Yeah, it's good to see that they're clinical, but at the same time, it just goes to show that it's been a game played in the middle of the park, and yeah, a lot of strong defensive performances from both teams.
Canberra FC have a little over 10 minutes. There's a yellow card here being dished out. Is that Hughes?
Probably for talking back or something. I'm not sure.
Maybe there's a little bit of dissent. Finds a way into the referee's notebook. 10 minutes for FC to find a way back into the game. Galich sends it forward. Bounces around on the edge of the box, and Telly Young tries to bring it away and looks for Grove. But Galich steps in, launches one into the night sky. Goldstein challenges. She's robbed of it by Rösbach, and it's going to fall for Churchill, who swings one goal. It's dipping, but James has got that covered all the way. She's deceptively tall, Sally James, isn't she, when she sticks her arms up there?
Yeah, no, she's really tall. She's still growing, and she does have the dimensions to be a really good keeper. She used to play at Madura, and I remember my mother telling me that she would trial and she'd be the best field player and goalkeeper that ever trialed.
Your mum said that?
The trial as in that age group, not ever. But
sounds a bit harsh after you.
No,
Thanks, Mum.
Not in that sense. In the sense of for her age group, she topped in both pools, but still decided she wanted to be a goalkeeper.
And she's certainly done herself proud today. She's done a good job. Looks very solid.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's quite concerning. You can see with the distress on her face that it looks pretty serious.
It's often those innocuous ones that are the worst, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they don't look like much, and especially the non-contact. It's very worrying that it's looking towards an ACL.
She put her effort in, and so she's been put a real effort in to try and get into that, and she cut back inside, and I think it was a knee. She clutched at it straight away. We don't have the benefit of a replay screen here, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the academy looked to have made a change. Mia McGovern has come on. That was out of the right of it. I didn't see who's come off, did you?
I believe it was Agnew.
Lara Agnew, who's put a good shift in as well herself. All eyes were to our left are Georgia Stewart, who unfortunately looks like she's going to be leaving us, which is a shame because she's been quite bright and effervescent since she's come on, hasn't she?
Yeah, and it's also just really hard for her if, a short stints ended her with a long-term injury, and I hope that it's nothing too serious, but by the looks of it, she's in a lot of pain.
Doesn't look good. She's being helped from the field here. Zoe Langtry's going to replace her. And poor Georgia Stewart's stint on the field ends in a bit of agony for her. We wish her the best. She looked quite lively, and there's a deft little header, wasn't it, that almost got Genovese in earlier.
Yeah, no, it was really. She did bring in a lot of energy, and she's got that understanding from a keeper's perspective. So when she's a striker, cutting off runs, and but I think now for both sides, this is a stop in play, and it's where it's a chance to reset, and who's going to come back out and shift the momentum with the last 5 or 10 minutes remaining.
Well, let's hope for Georgia Stewart's sake that it's just a tweak that feels worse than what it is. We'd rather, hopefully it's not an ACL or something like that, but it does look like she's in an awful lot of pain. The bright cameo comes to an end.
Very different in the sense of it was an overuse injury that could be managed for a certain period of time, and it wasn't one from one instance, but at the same time it's that rehab phase that it really challenges you mentally, and if when players come back from those, they're definitely stronger and better for it.
If her team don't find an equaliser in the next 10 minutes, she will have the summer months to recover and recuperate and come back stronger next season, so we wish her well. Meanwhile, back at the action, we'll have a few minutes' time added on, of course. We got 6 minutes officially left on the clock, but we're going to have 3 or 4, I'd imagine, added on, plus stoppage time as well. Here's Langtry, called into action. Tries to force her way through. She's going to get another touch here, and she might find Churchill in a little bit of space. Now, she's got a great left foot, Alice Churchill. Swings it in, beautiful ball. James came and got 2 hands on it and needed to as well. Good goalkeeping. Confident come to collect, and did enough. Yeah,
it was brave from James, and it was good that she still had academy players around there to clean up the scraps.
Morgan runs into Hagan and then concedes a free kick as she turns over possession. Chantel Jones exhorting more effort from her troops as time ticks away. Galich with the free kick. Looks to launch it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Good header away at the back by Hulse. Grove. It's been peripheral at the moment, but she's always an outlet if they need her. Morgan. Good press this from FC. And James hammers it down the field. Johnston under pressure from Taylor Young, who has a slight tug on the arm of the substitutes. Can FC find a way back, Grace? Time ticking away.
Yeah, I guess they're looking to do it, and they're trying to throw their bodies forward, but Canberra United are sticking strong.
Churchill thought about the shot, and unfortunately it was on her weaker right foot. Might have been interesting if it had been on that left-hand side. James in no rush to get this forward. Sent it down towards her own bench. Berkeley's there. Churchill with a throw. McGovern won that. Hagan sends it forward. Rosbachen's there. Prodded away by Lawless. Hagan again. Goldstein. Hagan again. Tries her luck. Ambitious efforts. 3 minutes plus stoppage time to go at the end of this preliminary final. Who will be playing Belconnen United in next week's grand final? At the moment, it looks like Canberra United Academy will be set up for their 50th meeting in about a week, it feels.
Yeah, I know. It's almost been like a month long of tactics against training to play that same opposition. But so far it's been the same tale of Belconnen coming out on top.
Still time for FC to make that moot, though. Grove on her own. Hughes, nice touch that. DeMarco tries to send it wide, but can only pick out Johnston. Now Vasta's turn to send it forward as quick as she can. Morgan won the header, didn't really know where it was going there. And Wright tries to get it back off her, but there is Morgan. Much better skills and finds Taylor Young. She's got pace. Here's Grove in the area, tries to return it to Taylor Young. The flag goes up. This won't count, even though the ball is in the net. Grove nice little 1-2 though.
Yeah, I actually think Taylor Young wasn't expecting the 1-2 because she probably could have held her run a little bit. But really nice run and good feet from Grove to give the return ball. She wouldn't have minded her backing herself and maybe had a shot, but nonetheless.
Might get a chance again here as Taylor Young spins away from Johnston, runs into the area. Was caught late there by Johnston, was she? Must have been a little bit on the ball.
Yeah, probably not enough to justify a penalty, but yeah, you got to be careful. You can be fighting in the game and then give it away at the very end.
Here's Churchill advancing into Canberra United territory. Still going, Alice Churchill. Can't force her way into the penalty area. Mulhall steps away. Here's Grove. Back to DeMarco. That's a little bit loose. Given away to Wright, who sees the keeper off her line and thought about it. And James had recovered sufficiently to drop back and get the ball. It was on for a moment from Grace Mar territory. Good win that by Hagan in the middle of the field. Nodded forward by Langtree, but that's going to roll out of play. We've got 30 seconds plus stoppage time. We won't get an official board here, but I'd imagine there'll be 5 or 6.
Yeah, there's got to be at least a couple more enough plays that it's still Canberra FC is still going to look threatening, but I'm sure the academy are going to try waste as much time as they can to see the game out.
Respa can rush that somewhat, but concedes the throw-in. That's unlike her. Maybe nerves are jangling a little bit. Yes,
sometimes in these hiding moments, the younger ones get a bit flustered and feel that rush to...
A real chance here in the middle. It could be 2-2. It is 2-2. And would you believe it? It's Zoe Langtree who came on for the injured Georgia Stewart. Left unmarked inside the penalty area, and extra time is looming. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, she was completely unmarked there. Really calm finish, but again, there you go. Only needed 30 seconds of play, and she's got her team back in the game.
The vagaries of finals football. Zoe Langtree, who probably wouldn't have been on the park if Georgia Stewart hadn't gone down injured, is left unmarked in the penalty area. Took a touch and then she lashed it home.
Yeah,
no chance for James.
Like you said, the most unexpected players are the ones that end up finding the back of the net in these big games, and yeah, it looks like we may be heading into extra time.
Unless the academy have a dramatic finish of their own. Mulhall could win the corner. She does. Is there even more drama in stoppage time? Mulhall swings it in. Vasta comes, collects. And Canberra FC, they scored a famous equaliser in stoppage time in the grand final last year to send it to extra time, where they won on penalties. Chantal Jones saving a couple in the shootout.
Yeah, they're no strangers to these sorts of matches, and they've got the experience to go the full 120 minutes, and they may seal away with the win now.
Well, Wright might keep this in. She's got Langtree inside her again. Plenty of green shirts back, though. Swung in towards the penalty area and just prodded clear by Hughes. Grove challenges with Galich, a slight size mismatch. And shot from Goldstein is from way out, and James collects. Once again, though, hardly had shots on target, and all of a sudden we've 2-2.
Yeah, again, it's the goalkeepers actually haven't had a lot to do in many saves, so it's either been off target or in the back of the net.
And they've shut the canteen, Grace. What are we going to do?
Oh, I can't get my
Can't get your coffee or
or
your hot chocolate. Here's Berkeley. Here's Langtree, who got the goal, and she prods it away. She's buzzing on adrenaline right now as well. Her first senior goal of the season in first grade. Gill. Sasha Grove penalised for handball now then. Into the 48th minute of the half.
It's in Grace Gill territory for sure, and yeah, it's going to be a great way to see out the end of the 90 minutes.
Wasn't too dissimilar from the distance she did score from open field in that final last year. Grace Gill, Canberra FC's leading goal scorer with 16. She drew them level in contentious circumstances just before half-time. She has a chance here to maybe win it. It's Gill up over the wall, and James, let's give her credit, thinks she maybe had it covered. Free football, as David Jordan from Capital Football calls it. An extra half an hour looming large here at McKellar Park. It's 2-2 in the women's preliminary final. You're going to have to put your dinner plans back a little bit, Grace.
I know. Team's going to have to wait.
There wasn't anything you wanted to watch on TV tonight, was there, anyway?
No, I just have my end of season team dinner, but that's fine. I'll just rock up when the food arrives instead.
Look, they're probably watching anyway.
Yes, that's true.
Saying, where are you? Extra half an hour plus possibly penalties, moments away unless somebody can find a winner. Here's Rosbacher looking to spark something in the front third. Does Ryan Grogan now regret taking off Colville?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, that I knew she was carrying some sort of niggle earlier in the week, and whether it was for her own health reasons that she's been brought off, or whether he thought they could see out the game. But nonetheless, I think they still got a strong... There we go.
Well, Harry Shearer blows the whistle for full time. Grace, you mentioned it when I suggested that Rosbacher took the goal kick very quickly and tried to go short. Maybe that game management, maybe the youngsters, you said, get a little bit frazzled, and off that quick goal kick, went out for a throw, they've equalised. Is that something that in the long term you think, well, calm it down a bit, send it up the park?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why the young sides need to play in these final footballs, because they need to get an understanding of how to take the game into their own control, and the more you play in these final footballs, you get an understanding of in what moments you need to go quickly, and what are the right moments to choose, especially when you're leading a game and you're trying to protect a lead. And I think I've spoken a bit to Ryan Grogan over the season about the side learning to manage their load, manage the reading of the play, and like you said, it came off the quick giveaway, and then all of a sudden they're back in it, and Academy are slightly on the back foot.
Well, we're going to take a couple of minutes break, regather ourselves for extra time, because at the end of 90 minutes here in the women's preliminary final, it's Canberra United Academy 2, Canberra FC 2. So welcome back to McKellar Park. We've got another half an hour to go because of Zoe Langtry, who equalised in stoppage time. We mentioned it, Grace, that probably wouldn't have been on the field if Georgia Stewart hadn't gone down injured.
Yeah, and it was actually a really great touch to calm herself and slot it nicely in the back of the net. And it's almost a rematch of the grand final last year, CFC scoring late in the game to get themselves back in it. And this next 30 minutes is going to be very interesting.
This is psychological for the Canberra United Academy. Now they've the times they've seen knockout football where it's been important to them with Belconnen United, they conceded late in the first half. They're important goals. Trying to see out a game, there is management in that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and there's the physical fatigue, but also the mental fatigue. And the longer you go into these matches, the more prone you are to making mistakes. And a young side that aren't experienced in finals football, it only takes a couple of individual errors, and Canberra FC could slide right back into the game and come out winners.
So I've asked you before, and I'll ask you again: who wins from here?
I don't know now. It's been one of those games where I feel like it's been quite even, and I guess the scorelines reflected that.
Anyone's guess, we'll say. Here's Taylor Young getting in behind, and Johnston gets a foot in, concedes a corner. Bright start to the first 15-minute period of extra time from the academy. I've seen this before, where we go to extra time and team scores in the first minute. You're like, why couldn't you have done that 3 minutes ago?
Yeah, it's interesting, especially knowing that on the back of it is penalties, and if you are scoring early, that you still have 30 minutes before the full-time whistle.
It's a decent delivery, that one. It's going to come out for Rusbakken, who line one up. Put it straight into Hagen. She's going to get a second opportunity. Still as full of energy now as she was in the first minute. Here's Morgan. Clips it wide. McGovern, who came on late in the first half. Here's Grove. Onus on the youngster now. Leading the line, having come on for Colville. Good foot in by Churchill. Credit to Canberra FC, though, scoring at the end of the first half, the end of the second half. It takes a lot to beat them, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it just shows the resilience and the discipline in the side to keep believing until the end. And, I think that a lot of that has come from the sideline from Chantel, who's really all game just been encouraging them to get forward and attack.
And you do play until the 93rd, 95th minute these days. You just keep going to the end. You never know what might happen. Morgan's after this. Johnston's defending it. Morgan's beaten it to it. Has she got a delivery? No, because she's denied by Galich, who's come across. Canberra Olympic end of presentation dinner. Is that what it is tonight that you're missing?
Yeah, no, it's all right. I think they've moved it back a little bit for me.
Well, that's nice.
At least the food's going to come out a bit later, so no, I won't go hungry tonight.
Ball sung into the penalty area. Might come for Grove. Good challenge up by Churchill. Cross goes Rosebarkin, and Churchill comes away with it. She's got Goldstein ahead of her. But she will chase after that, but good piece of defending by DeMarco, and James hoiks it forward. The academy led twice. Canberra FC have come back twice. James finds Morgan. Taylor Young wants it put in behind. Morgan wants her to come short. In the end, she does neither and is beaten by Krista Hagen. It's been tigerish in midfield today. Here is Taylor Young. She's put a good shift in. Hughes. Hulse, she'll be disappointed her goal wasn't the winner. Taylor Young with Johnston. Falls for Berkeley. Free kick against the winger. She howls her frustration. And Galich will look to lift this one into Canberra United territory. Thumps it forwards. Good win by Hughes. Hagen battling with Grove. His Hughes once more. Morgan's peeled away, and there's a bit of room on this near side. She's asked Taylor Young to get after it. Vasta had read that well, and that's a good piece of goalkeeping.
Yeah, it's the first clearance I think she's had to do off her line. But she's been alert to it all game and played that sweeper role, which has allowed Canberra FC to play a bit more of a high line.
It's what you want from your goalkeeper, to make a decision and come early, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. As long as you decide and commit, then that usually works out for the best.
DeMarco was there, and Hull swings it to this near side. Morgan, once again, they try to get Taylor Young in behind Johnston. She might be in for a busy extra time period, Highwatt Johnston. She came on for Genovese. Nice touch from Berkeley. Wright was in there. DeMarco will pick this up. McGovern looks to slide it through towards Grove. Sasha Grove into the area, but good challenge at the back. Still a chance for the academy. Pattern's gone back to how it was at the beginning of the game, hasn't it, Grace, to be honest?
Yeah, it is, and it's the same. It's in that same situation of at the end of it, you're going to penalties rather than do you want to keep from conceding, knowing how hard it is to fight back in extra time. And I think, yeah, both teams are cautious, and that you can see right now Academy's got 3 players back when no one to mark.
Good run that by Hughes. Little dance in the penalty area. She does well, goes down under the challenge. They asked the question of referee Harry Shields, and he answers in the negative.
Yeah, I think it's one of those calls where either way you could find justification in the reason, but I definitely prefer that the penalties aren't awarded easily. It stops the game from being controversial, and I think it was the right decision.
It would have been soft, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Here's Wright. Churchill. Langtree, who scored the equaliser. The pass is picked off by Morgan. Taylor Young's made the run into the channel if she sends it. And Taylor Young will get there. Not quite where she wanted it, but she's still into the penalty area. Fingers it across goal. Grove arrived. And a good piece of defending at the back by Tamaro to deny her and concede the corner.
Yeah, great run from Taylor Young. Didn't look to take her foot off the pace at all and got a really good cross in, but yeah, really well marked from Tamaro.
Morgan's passed just the wrong side of Taylor Young. She was in the channel and in on goal if she could have slid it into her right. As it is, they'll take the set piece. She has to swing it in dangerously. Comes back to Morgan on her left foot. Clips it into the danger area, and it's volley clear by Hagen. Touched by Rosbach, and back to Morgan again. She'll get a second opportunity to perhaps reload this. Well, instead, she's given the ball away to Wright, who's off on a run. Brings Johnston into play. Now Hagen. Johnston again. And she's got that one all wrong. Head in hands.
Yeah, you can start to see now there's some really bad turnovers and unforced errors creeping into both teams, and it's just starting to come down to fatigue, and now it becomes this mental game of staying focused. So, you know, you're not giving away golden opportunities to the opposition.
If it goes to penalties, who do you fancy?
I'd have to... Oh, actually...
Would you want a bit more time to think about that? You've got
yeah,
20 minutes.
Okay, give me 20 minutes and I'll evaluate. If it was Chantel in goals, then definitely back CFC, but Sally James is a great shot stopper. But then again, for them to win Canberra United, girls have got to step up and be able to put them in the back of the net.
Might not get that far, of course. Morgan's robbed by Hagen, and she saw the gap and tried to go for it. It's a good block by Lawless to stop her. Hagen comes in field to Gill. Clips it, looking for the run of Langtree in the area again here. And that was a good piece of defending by Hals, just to lean into her. And see the ball back to James.
It's a great little ball in over the top. She's got Gill's got enough under the ball to let it float up and hold off so that drawn out the keeper, but the players have been able to get to it first.
Galich sends it forward. Goldstein gets the touch. Rosebakken is there like she's been everywhere, and here she is challenging Langtry. The reason why we're in this extra time period. Here's Gill. Lines one up from distance, and that should be easy for Sally James. Sends it up towards Grove. Galich is there. DeMarco finds Morgan. Lawless. DeMarco again. Looks to put Grove in behind. Svasta's come a long way. And she wins it. McGovern will challenge. It's Hulse. Grove beaten to it by Tamaro. McGovern, she looks like a tidy footballer. Hagan has a bit of space in which to work now. Looks the ball over the top for Wright, who might be in here, but James collects quite comfortably. 5 minutes to half-time in the first period of extra time. Still 2-2 here in the preliminary final. You're watching Bar TV Sports with myself, Russ Gibbs, and Grace Marr. Just getting her dinner order in.
Just making sure they don't start without me.
Don't start without me. Here's Lawless. Morgan goes down. Free kick given. It's not too far away from here, your end-of-season function, though, is it?
No, just down at the Lighthouse in Belconnen. So it was going to work conveniently if it had been a 90-minute game, but nonetheless, like DJ says, some free football for us all.
Yeah, Zoe Langtry owes you a dinner if it's all gone by the time you get there. Here's Tamaro to Gill. Galich. I tell you who's rubbing their hands with glee right now, Anthony Jagarinik of Belconnen United. He's loving extra time and an extra half hour for these guys.
I know, especially after the heavy week load that they've been in, reversing Belconnen, and knowing his side's had the full weekend off. So, yeah, he's very happy to see this run out to the full 120.
It may go longer. Here's Taylor Young. Good run this. Taylor Young, she's through here. Hayley Taylor Young, real chance. Fizzes it goalwards, but it's just going to dip over the crossbar. Great run that from Taylor Young, and she stayed on her feet when she could easily have gone down. Yeah, maybe they could have had an extra touch as well.
Yeah, I think it was a great little place, really smart to pick the gap, and I think she did the right thing of not going down. She was much more of a threat, dribbling that ball closer to goal rather than a free kick quite out wide. But yeah, just that little bit of lack of experience that from that distance, probably get a little bit closer before you try to drive that ball into the back of the net. But she's looking dangerous and seemed to get a fair few up on Johnston.
She's looked the most likely of all the forwards on the field since the first minute, to be fair. A good battle with Alice Churchill in the first half an hour, and since then she switched wings, and it's what Johnston's tasked to mark her at the moment. That one swung in towards Hughes, gets a touch on it. Here is Taylor Young again. She knocks over Johnston, and the free kick awarded. Ryan Grogan not convinced that was a foul.
He usually stays pretty quiet in the game and just instructions, but you can see how much this means to him.
Had a rough time of it today. Had his car stolen this morning, I understand.
Oh wow.
Which is not good.
Horrible, actually, but I'm sure if they can get the win tonight, it might make that loss a little bit less difficult.
Yeah, all this stuff in it, unfortunately, his computer and everything. If you know anything about that, if you know what Ryan's car looks like.
I believe, is it at the black Subaru, the Forester, I think?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
If you see a black Subaru around, looking shifty, let everyone know. Here's Rosebakken, looking to bring a smile to his face by finding a winning goal. A couple of minutes to go to the end of the first period of extra time. Mostly been played in FC's half, it has to be said. Rosebakken gives that away. She's a bit cross with the runners ahead of her, and Wright looks to take advantage of the gaps that may appear, but Lawless is back and shadowing and does very well just to hold up play and prod it out of for a throw-in. Here's Taylor Young. Now Hughes. It's to send one wide. It's a good ball too. It's bounced up a bit on Mulhall there. Caught between two minds of whether to go to reach the ball or wait for it, and in the end it's done neither, and it's bounced over her head.
It is one of those hard things that it's a little, the error, especially when you're fatigued, you just can't seem to make a clear decision, but it's not in a too dangerous area, and they'll be looking to bounce back quickly.
Gill plays that out of play. Some tired legs out there right about now. Here's Taylor Young battling away. Gill has it. Johnston. Hagan helps it on its way and should be easy for Lawless. James has no option but to send that into touch. Up into the grandstand. Ryan Grogan still barking out the instructions. We're into stoppage time at the end of the first period of extra time. There can't be too much of that, I wouldn't have thought. One chance perhaps for FC to get it into the penalty area. Hagan sends it down the line. Here's Morgan. That's out of play. Harry Shield looks at his watch. Puts a whistle to his mouth, and we will end, you would think, the first period of extra time. It gives a free kick.
Ooh.
Maybe he's going to play half an hour straight through.
Yeah, suits me.
We've given the free kick here, and it's ticking time over here. I'm not really sure where this has come from. Don't remember any stoppages in the first period.
I think it was about to call the half time, and then he saw the free kick, I guess.
It was found time for the free kick to be taken. Grace Gill will line this up. This is a good chance as well. Will she thrash it across goal? She chips it towards the near post. James Half got a hand and it's loose, and it's been spooned over the crossbar. With the last kick of the first half of extra time, it was a glorious opportunity. Was it Galich it fell for in the middle of the goal there, and somehow she spooned it up and over. Yeah,
that was a beautiful ball in, and Sally James looks to be pretty upset with herself there, but she's got no time. She's got 15 more minutes now to focus before penalties, and they'll need her at her best if they want to win this one.
Head in her hands, but I think she's mightily relieved, to be honest. I'll tell you what, I think the referees might be relieved as well when they see the minutes back, because I'm not sure where that time came from for that free kick.
No,
that would have been highly controversial.
Exactly, so perhaps it's meant to be, but I think it's one of those things where if it's a free kick still in that time that you got to play, but at the same time, free kicks usually take an extra 1 or 2 minutes up, and with only 15 minutes of play, the added time is a bit unreasonable. And
James, that's the first time in the game she's looked a little bit suspect on a cross, and she's dodged one there, and Galich will be wondering how she's not scored. Yeah, it was one of those ones where it's harder to miss, and but at the same time, with that panic of trying to get that ball into the back of the net, usually try to strike it before it's dropped low enough, and you do see that happen often. Got another 15 minutes, and then possibly penalties, and then you can go for your dinner. It's been entertaining though, Grace, hasn't it, really? It's been one of those games where it's not been a huge amount of goalmouth action, but we've had 4 goals, and we started off the evening, you were saying you weren't quite sure which way it was going to go. It's difficult to say, and we're no closer to deciding who's going to be making that trip to the grand final next week. Yeah, and as much as it hasn't been an end-to-end game as such, it's been really good to see the fight and that comeback that, you love to see in finals football, and makes it great for the crowd to get involved in it, and the CFC supporters have been quite loud, and it's also a really great experience again for the academy side to go into a game like this, knowing they've had the lead, lost it again, and playing in 120 minutes. It's a completely different game, that extra time, and it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back for this last 15. Used to be at the end of half-time of extra time, you just turn around and get on with it. Now we seem to have a couple of minutes for coaches to give some instructions. Everyone to get a drink of water.
Yeah, I think it's only fair. Usually you see at the top level you got 5 or 6 physios on giving players calf rubs and stopping them from cramping up, but don't quite have that luxury here.
Could do with it in the commentary box.
Yeah. I think the hand warmers would be an ideal now. Wasn't expecting it to go this late.
I didn't expect it to be this late, yeah. You would have worn some longer socks.
Yeah.
So, 15 more minutes to find who will play Birkong United in the grand final. Will it be Canberra FC? Will it be the Canberra United Academy? For so long, it looked like it was the green shirts of the academy that would be getting there. But Zoe Langtry, who came on the field due to an injury to fellow substitute Georgia Stewart, probably wouldn't have got on otherwise, I dare say. And she's the one that's forced extra time. And here we are in the second period. And FC had the best chance in that opening 15-minute spell right at the death when Galich scooped it over the crossbar, where there'll be a chance as good for either side in this period. You look at that as a coach like Mark Rostesky, Chantal, and you're thinking of all the players it could have fallen to inside the 6-yard box. I'd have backed her if it was a header.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I've had that experience as a player as well, where you panic and you want it to, you're right there, you're so close that you rush it, and you'll see the more you have of those, the more likely you're going to be placing them in the back of the net.
Happens to everybody. Here she is defensively at the other end of the field. Gill looks to send it forwards towards Langtry, but there was the ever-present Roosbakken. Still going. Still with that bundles of energy. Here's Mulhall. Roosbakken again. To find out what she has for breakfast, because it keeps her going for ages.
I actually do know what she has. Usually it's 8 Weet Bix. So
8 Weet Bix.
Yeah, she likes to brag about her. I remember we didn't, for some reason, have enough packets of Weet Bix at one of our Canberra United games or something like that, and she was a bit mad. She only got 6 in or something, so she eats a lot.
She didn't quite get as energetic that day as she was today. 8 Weet Bix.
Yeah, I'm sure if we would put it to her, she could go to 10, but yeah, it's a Weet Bix kid, so...
It's a good advert for Weet Bix.
It is, isn't it? I should let them know, and maybe she'll pick up a sponsorship.
Any young footballers out there wanting to know how you keep your energy up? Here's Berkeley. Tamaro. Galich. Touch from Hagen. Now Gill. Tamaro once more. Churchill. McGovern challenges with Goldstein. Goldstein comes out on top. Ball forwards. Nice touch that from Hagen. Opens it up. Looks to slide it in for Wrights, but defensively Morgan's across. Concedes the throw in. Needed to be in the right position. Churchill to take the throw. Time ticks ever onwards towards the penalty shootout. Berkeley loses out. Now Grove. No one really ahead of her, and she asked too much from Mulhall. Grove looks to win it with Gill. Snapping at the heels of Grace Gill. Literally. Here's Galich. Gill. Now Berkeley. To lift one over the top. Well, was that handball? It is. Unfortunate. Bounced up and struck Morgan on the arm. Just overrun it slightly, but this is dangerous.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, and she knew straight away, and this is in a very dangerous area.
Well, we saw Gill go close with one at the end of normal time. This one's a bit better position for her if she can get it up and over that wall.
Yeah, it's closer though, so in a way it might be a little bit harder, but I'm sure she'll look to try place this one in one of those top corners.
James needs to line this one up. Gill looking to lift it over. Grace Gill! Outstanding finish. Sweeps it up over the wall. No chance for James. Super strike from Gill. Her second of the match, and FC lead for the first time.
Again, a brilliant free kick. She's actually wrong-footed, Sally James. And it's due to that last free kick going to the near post. She's gone to the far post, and she's scored a very similar goal like that against us last weekend. And time again, she's coming up with the big moments, and she's just put her team one step closer to being in that final.
She loves a goal at that end in this venue in finals football. Grace Gill gives Canberra FC the lead at 3-2. 10 minutes between FC and the final for the second year in a row. And if she hit that first goal that she scored sweetly, my goodness, that came off well as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just a right bit of bend, huge amount of pace. There was no chance for James.
Yeah, with that sort of pace, it doesn't have to be placed exactly in the top corner. Enough spin that, no chance unless she had have anticipated going there.
I don't think I've ever seen Grace Gill have such a prolific season in front of goal. 17 times this season she has struck the net. Quite incredible statistics.
Yeah, and she's coming off. She's had a bit of an Achilles tendon flare up towards the back end of this season, and the fact that she's pushing on for the whole time just shows how much she wants this and how much she is a massive role model for the club.
Now the questions have been asked for the first time of the academy. Can they find a way back? They led twice. Now they're behind. Last night we saw Canberra FC's men's team complete the treble in the NPL Grand Final. Their women's team one step away from a Grand Final place and a rematch against Balconia United. And maybe Anthony Jagger, and it's not sitting quite so pretty now. A bit worried about the Canberra FC influence. Football's a funny old game, as they say. If Langtreet's 92nd minute equaliser doesn't bring us to extra time, Grace Gill's not there to score that goal. The momentum all with those in red at the moment. Morgan wants to get on with it. There's a card coming out here.
Yeah, that was just unnecessary, heat of the moment sorts of things that you need to understand that if you were already carrying a yellow or something and you lost that, then you've just sent yourself out of the game. And again, it is all that about learning experience, but you really need to keep your cool. Pushing someone probably isn't going to make you get the ball back quicker, just cause another delay.
Well, I'm not sure who the card was for, whether it was for Wright or Hagan from FC or whether it was for Morgan. I think it was for Krista Hagan for not getting out of the way of the ball for the quick free kick. But
I would have, I would have had to think that.
You would have thought it would be for Morgan for the push, but the card seemed to be brandished in the direction of one of the two diminutive Canberra FC players, either Wright or Hagan. Guess we'll find out if one of them gets the second.
It's interesting to have a look here that Canberra United, the academy, are chasing the game, yet they're still having 3 or 4 plays back in rest defence, and they need someone to step up and let them know that they have to take these risks because you're either going to lose by 5 or win the game, and they have to get a goal within this next 7 or so minutes, and they're not going to be doing that with 4 or 5 behind the ball.
Well, they sent Rosebakken forward in an effort to use some of that energy from those 8 Weet-Bix to try and force an equaliser. Time is their enemy right now. Grace Gill, the most experienced player on the field, has come up with 2 pearlers, either side of a goal from Zoe Langtree. And Canberra FC are 12 minutes away from a second consecutive grand final. The team that finished 3rd on the ladder. Massive 17 points behind Balconia United. Rosebakken wins it. Churchill sends it clear. Picked up by DeMarco. Mulhall has room on this near side. Will she take on Churchill or will she deliver? Looks to deliver into the penalty. A good-looking ball in. Vasta half came and then stopped, and Taylor Young almost got in on the far post. talked about finals football before, Grace, and how beforehand I watched the reserve grade side, and the young girls lost in that one, and you sometimes have to lose games in order to be able to win finals, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly, and also you have to lose to appreciate the win and how much you love it and why you work so hard and do those extra runs when your body's telling you can't. And the fight from both teams today has been fantastic, and again, it just goes to show that in finals football anything can happen. And
they're not out of it yet. Mulhall in towards Grove. It might fall for Rosbakken, who... That would have been interesting. Good foot in to block. Here's Goldstein. It was Galich who got the foot in. Rosbakken putting pressure on, and Churchill just sends it up front. And there's Grace Gill picking an intelligent run.
Yeah, somehow found herself up on the left flank, but she'll take this one to the corner and try buy a team time. Gets
the throw in off of McGovern. She'll be in no danger of fetching that ball to take it. Alice Churchill will jog forwards. Often Grace Gill finds herself as a left winger, is it?
No, but if it is, it's because she's trying to keep the ball in that area, and yeah, she's experienced enough, and so is the rest of the squad to keep it in that zone far away from their goal. Which
Krista Hagen is doing right now. In the corner, looking to win a corner. It's a goal kick. I'm not sure Hagen's going to retrieve that for them.
No. and they're those little things as well that you pick up the more you play in these kind of footballs, that when you're trying to protect a lead, teams do play dirty, and you've got to be switched on to make sure you can help your team the most.
Game management, they call it, I think, don't they?
Yeah.
And we saw it just what led to the equaliser when Rosbakken took the short goal kick quickly, and it kind of confused the team, and it was out for the throw, and that's where the goal came from for the equaliser. Maybe next time they'll be sending that one down the field. Can't fault them for trying to play football, though. They're still trying to play football. Grove's chasing after this. Pumping the legs, trying to get there, but the ball beats both her and Galich. Churchill with the throw. Goldstein back to her, and we'll get the chance to do it again. And it's the Canberra United Academy acting as the ball retrievals. That's come off Goldstein via a Canberra United defender, so it'll be another throw. Looking for Langtree. Her touch was a bit heavy, and there's urgency about what the Academy are doing now. There's 8 minutes to go. Mulhall, 2 red shirts around her. Claims it went out. Gill. McGovern. Nicely done. Tidy footballer, Mia McGovern.
Yeah, she's really a really good technical player, good with her feet. But in saying that, you have a look now. We've got 4 Canberra United Academy players behind the ball in their own half, and they need to throw numbers forward now again in the last couple of minutes of the game.
Rosbakken swings it wide to Mulhall. Only Grove in the penalty area ahead of her at the moment. Goes short, looking for Hughes, who's run herself into the ground today. Hagen lifts that one forward. The chase was on for Goldstein. She wasn't going to get that, though. Is there something from the Academy's point of view to force penalties? Here's DeMarco. Up towards Grove. Gill takes it off her there. Hughes battles. Goes down and wins herself a free kick. They want to go quickly. Kicks it into Hagen, and the referee says play on, and Goldstein tried his luck, and the Canberra FC bench are going mad. Chantal Jones. There's a card coming out for Laura Hughes here. And it's a second yellow card for dissent. And she's sent from the field of play, and I have a little bit of sympathy for her there.
Yeah.
She's kicked it into Hagen from a yard away.
Yeah, and so it's a really interesting thing that I think there's a misconception with the that rule of the 10 yards, and she hasn't played at the ball, so technically it's up to that player on the ball to decide. And I often get coaches saying kick it into them when they're trying to delay the ball, but no, it is hard done by, and she'll be devastated.
She sees red for dissent, second yellow card, and that's made it particularly hard. And the free kicks to FC, and When Ryan Gregan looks back at the video today, he might think about the goal that was disallowed with Colville's free kick and the challenge on Sally James. I think they've had the rough end of the stick here.
Yeah, I think so. And even just that little thing there that I don't understand what the free kick there was for when the ball was played in for the goalie, and you can't really swap roles.
There had to be a Canberra United free kick irrespective of whether or not he sent her off, because it was their free kick in the first instance. Other than that, it's a drop ball, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So a strange one there for the officials again. Well, odds are stacked against them now. With 6 minutes to go, a player down. Grove looking to challenge. Churchill's there. She sends it out of play, and Mia McGovern bursts after the ball to try and get us back underway. 5 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. They can start cooking the entrees at the moment for you, Grace. Unless Canberra United Academy has something else.
I'm not going to say anything until that final whistle's blown.
Churchill tries to send it down the line and sliced out of play by Rosbakken. Doesn't deserve to be on the losing team today, does she, really? She's been outstanding. She's conceded a free kick there, though. A nudge in the back of Hagen.
Yeah, just frustration at the moment. She would feel hard done by, and but again, for CFC, they won't mind this at all.
Grace Gill to take the free kick. They've put 5 shirts forward, which is interesting. Hagen's taking it to the corner. Gill's with her, 2 of the most experienced players in the team. DeMarco battling away to try and win it back and does exceptionally well. Challenge between Churchill and Mulhall. Here's Galich. Sends it back from whence it came. Churchill wins it. Gill in over the top. Flag stays down. McGovern, the willing tracker. Hagen into the corner again. Just to wriggle her way past a couple of green shirts, but it's a goal kick. It's wasted a few more seconds though. The ball's at the wrong end of the field as far as Canberra United Academy concerned. Morgan looks to rectify that with the ball down the wing towards Taylor Young, who's got plenty of pace still. Runs into Johnston. And Tamaro goes across. And we'll leave it for Johnston. It'll be a dramatic finale if they can get one back here.
Yeah, but it seems to be it's played already 2 minutes now into added time. I don't see there being many seconds left in the game.
Can't be too long to go. Time desperately running out. Here's Mulhall. McGovern. DeMarco. It's got to go forward, and it's got to go forward soon, you'd think. Lawless. This happened in the Federation Cup final, didn't it? They couldn't get it forward when they needed to. Here's Taylor Young. Fires one goalwards, and Vasta is comfortably behind it. And referee Harry Shield blows the final whistle, and it's Canberra FC who will take part in the grand final next weekend. Grace, your final thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, there you go. The experience is done out the youth, and Academy, they'll be heartbroken and they'll take a lot out of it and reflect on this. But credit goes to Canberra FC. They've stuck to their game plan. They've come in. They've all worked hard as a unit, and in the end, you can't say they weren't deserving of the win.
Thanks very much for your company again. Good luck wherever you're signing this season for the W League. We're sure we'll find out in the week. Go and enjoy your end of season dinner with Canberra Olympic, and apologise for the extra half an hour.
No, thank you very much.
Well, that's it here from McKellar Park. It was a brace from Grace Gill in extra time, the second one in extra time. They've seen Canberra FC advance to the grand final, where they will meet Balconia United in a repeat of the 2017 matchup, because it's finished Canberra United 2, Canberra FC 3.